Welcome to the What I Meant to Say podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Jones, and I started these conversations because life doesn't give us do-overs. So this is a space where we get a chance to reflect and tell our story again, with more grace for ourselves, and hopefully make us all better for having listened. Today I'm talking with Shawn Ledig, and Jason Dibelius from the Option podcast is jumping in on this one too. Shawn, Jason, and I have a great friendship that was born from our love of volleyball and real conversation. Shawn is a father, husband, and lifelong athlete, from college basketball to professional beach volleyball to Jiu-Jitsu champ, and a structural engineer by day. He's also a guy with a great story who uses it to set an awesome example for the next generation. Shawn, thanks for talking with us today. Okay, this conversation's been a long time coming, at least to record, because the three of us have spent a lot of time talking, and we're finally doing it on camera, thanks to Jay's technical skills, Shawn's ability to get in here from Louisiana on the Zoom, and we're about to break it down. And there's too many good ways to go on this conversation, but since the three of us started in Louisiana Beach Week, take it back to last June, we have just had an amazing connection of stories and where we've come from and the dialogue that's gone on between us. And I've been really curious to get Shawn's story down on camera for a while. And the guy moves so fast. He's always going.
Yeah,
so
he
it's
does.
been hard to slow him down enough to get
he
it.
does.
So we're going to get that today. So maybe Jay and I have decided we're doing this joint venture between What I Meant to Say podcast and The Option. So
Yep, gonna do that.
So
Gonna do that.
Two for
Shawn,
one.
there it is.
yeah, so let's get going on. I want to start with you, Shawn, and I'm just so curious about where you've come from, that Louisiana upbringing, and the stories that you have, because I get them in small pieces, and we connected through volleyball on my blog, and I'm just really curious to dig deeper. And so start with where you were brought up, your parents, and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Louisiana born and raised. My mom, she's from Hawaii, so she came over for what? I mean, I know why she came over, but you want to think, why would somebody come from Hawaii to Louisiana? But her dad was from Louisiana, my grandfather. So when she moved to Louisiana, she ended up meeting my dad in college, little college they call McNeese. It's out in Lake Charles, and then he was from Houma, Louisiana, another little South Louisiana town. And he passed away when I was young. He actually was hit by a drunk driver while he was walking across the street. So I was 3 or 4 at the time. It was about 4 days before my third or fourth birthday. I think it was my third birthday. So I was young. I was fairly young. My older brother he's 5 years older than me. So that was kind of the first real memory that you kind of have. It's a tragic one, but still so young that, you don't really know. And then my mother moved. I was born in Lafayette, actually. And then from about 4 or 5 years old, a few years after, my mom moved to Baton Rouge. We moved to a small little place called Central, Greenville Springs area. Single mom, 2 kids. Guy had some help from my grandparents, my grandmother, and some family members. But and then she met my stepdad. So that's where the last name actually came in. He adopted us, and we were 4, 5, or 6 at the time. And they were together for probably 10 years. They had my younger brother with us. And then finally she left, and she had me, my younger brother, and my older brother. So my mother, single mother, raised 3 boys. So tell me that wasn't a chore to do. And the reason that she had left, my stepfather, he had just passed away last year, middle of the year, bless his soul. He was abusive. He was physically abusive to her, to me, to my older brother. And then even as we got older, my younger brother, he had to deal with it because that was his real father, So she took us and she left, and she went to this little city, Baker, Louisiana. Not much goes on around that area. Middle of the country. Some other people consider it's like a ghetto type area. It's really, it's kind of going downhill bad, but she took us there and hid out for a little while. Crazy story. I mean, I've had talks with her about it, and I said, do you think that was the right thing? But then when I look back and the physical abuse that she had to endure, I mean, I watched it. I had to watch it growing up, and it was pretty rough. It kind of makes you really bitter and angry, and you have, how hard time dealing with it. But then when it happens to you too, because he would get upset whenever we wouldn't do something or we would do this. He's a pretty good sized man. I mean, 6'1", 6'2", 240 pounds. So it wasn't like he was small. And then we moved away, and then he got back in connection with, in touch with us. And even though they were divorced and I still wasn't his, biological son, I would still go with him every other weekend. And he did some good things. He really did. He did what he was supposed to. He moved to Florida for a little while. He came to spend some time with us every other weekend. He would drive in from Florida and he would come pick us up. We'd go stay at my grandmother's house in Port Allen. And, sometimes you don't feel like you belonged in a certain place. My grandmother and them and my cousin, she's one of my cousins, is one of my favorite people growing up. Her name's Carla. She was always there for me, same age. So we were always close in age and we had a lot of things in common. So she used to help me through that. Mom didn't get a lot of financial support. What's that?
You just hit on something really big there that I wanted to grab, and that concept that he did some really good things for you. And you're kind of tearing my heart out with the first part of that story, but that ability that you have to not see everything in black and white, because people really make a lot of mistakes, and not to excuse any of the stuff that you went through, but that's an amazing quality to have, to be able to see that in other people, that, you still were able to bridge a gap there.
Let me tell you something. It took a long time.
I can imagine.
But I can tell you my athletic, I'd say, I didn't play sports growing up at a younger age. Like my son, he's 6, 7. He plays sports. I coach everything. I've coached everything under the sun right so far. Things I've never even played or, had an opportunity to play, but it's fun and they're young. So I didn't start basketball. Really, I started to play basketball in 4th or 5th grade. Just little school stuff, nothing major. Playing in the yard. My older brother played, of course, and we went to a private school that he played for, and they had a bunch of good players there. The coaches were really good, and that's what piqued my interest in. But I would always go play by myself. I was that kid that I could go do things by myself, but I could never sit still. I guess you guys can, you realize that now, because I just couldn't. I was just that kid that I'm pretty sure now they would probably diagnose me with at least 4 or 5 different things. But like I said to some people, I think it was a blessing. It's a blessing and a curse, if you want to look at it. It just depends on how you harness it and you make it work for you. And that's something that I've had to do over the years. But at a young age, that was like in basketball. Like, I got cut from my first little basketball team. This is not fun. And then, the next few years I made it. Junior high, 8th grade, I tried out for the varsity basketball team because it was a K through 12 school. And, and I had to, since my mom, she was raising 3 of us. I think she got like $100 for each of us from my stepdad. I don't know how that works because child support it's crazy. And she worked at the church. The church basically helped her out. I mean, we was 3 of us in a small little duplex in this little bitty neighborhood, like Barrington Place, and I drove through it the other day as I went home to visit. I'm pretty sure everybody in there was looking at this guy driving through this neighborhood, but I wanted to go back to where I was from. I actually took pictures and some video, and I was like, man, kind of makes you, I guess, grateful for everything.
Yeah, you and Jay have some commonality on that story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the neighborhood I lived off this place called Groom Road in Baker. Most people would, I don't know if they've seen, be honest, I don't know if they've seen it, anybody of, a Caucasian and going down. Seriously, that's how, I grew up on that side of the tracks, and it is what it is. And that's why I was always doing what I did, I grew up, but her raising us, what I had to do is I actually had to work at school, to go to this private school because she couldn't afford it. So what they did is they allowed me, and there were a few other athletes and a few other students that did it. They would do us like a little work program. So we would work after school. We would take care of the trash. We'd mop stuff. You get picked on for it. Kids are kids. And but a lot of my friends, they understood, and it was a small, Christian school. So I think it was probably better yet than it could have. It probably could have been worse if it was in some other setting. But I was embarrassed for it. But I understood. My younger brother was at that school. She wanted me to be there with him. And so I was walking into this is how it all started. I was walking into to get some trash bags and stuff. And the coach came in. I thought I did fairly well for the tryout, 8th grade, a little smaller. I was a point guard at that time. And I thought I did much better than some of the seniors and juniors. And, that were at the tryouts. Well, I asked Coach, he came in. I said, "What do you think, Coach?" He said, I don't think you're going to be able to make it this year. So I walked in, he saw me. I mean, I kind of got taken back a little bit. I walked into that closet, just pouring tears. And I guess he saw me. So he came in and he's like, what's wrong? I said, I think, in my personal opinion, I said, I'm better than some of the guys that you have on that team. I said, that's just my facts. I said, I know that when we did 3-on-3 drills and we played some games, I did better than some. And he was like, well, they're seniors and juniors. I was like, well, that doesn't mean that they're better than me. So he said, okay, you know what? He said, get your money up to buy your shoes. So that was like the greatest, day. I was like, oh, this is awesome. So even if I was the 12th, 13th, 14th, man, I didn't care. 8th grade, me and another guy named Kenny Myers, but Kenny ended up being like a number 3 swingman on ESPN whenever we were seniors. He made it too. And so, but what sucked is I get home, I'm talking to my mom, and she's like, well, but she didn't, we can't afford that. I was like, oh my God. So that was another thing I had to deal with, She couldn't afford certain things. And I was like, oh God. So I actually had to sit out that year. And it sucked, So doing that, but, it made me better, And so as we did that, my freshman year, of course I made it. And then after that, my mom was having trouble with me. And so she got and sent me to a boys' home, a school. And that, at the moment in time, I was like, this is terrible. I mean, this is, why is she doing this? Why is she doing that? It's not, you're not going to put blame on yourself as a kid and you just think everybody else doesn't know what they're talking about. Well, the first day I walked into this place, the principal and all of them are there, and he's like, well, how do you like our place? And I was just like, this place sucks. And he'll tell you, he tells a story. He's a preacher down in Texas. And I went to see him to go on a hunt last year. And he told the story and people just bust out laughing. But I was like, this is garbage. I said, I don't belong here. You got people here that are being sent here because of, the state and this and that. And so, but when I look back at it and I talked to my mom and we've had some conversations, I was like, imagine you're a woman raising 3 boys. Now, the thing you got to understand too, is like me and my brothers are all athletic. Like my older brother played professional racquetball. He played basketball, played baseball. He's probably the most athletic, if you want to say it, in the family. But then my younger brother, he was a baseball player. That's basically what he did. He played for a college in Alabama and came home and, he's in Florida now. But so we were a competitive household of 3 boys, and they ranged from, I think Aaron, my older brother's 5 years older than me. So we had a range there, but just, 3 boys in a duplex. It wasn't the easiest lifestyle. And I know that the church had helped her out, and I told her some stuff about that. I was like, I'm glad that they were there for you to do that. But I used to tell her, I was like, do you think you could do more? She said maybe she could have, maybe she couldn't. And at the time, I knew that we didn't have money, but I didn't think we were poor, because I had all my friends and everybody at the, at school and everything like that. And I wore a ton of hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
So that was when I got older, and all I could think of is this. I was like, man, my brother dressed well, which was cool. So, some of the hand-me-downs were pretty awesome. Yeah. But all I could think of is like, when I was growing up, my thing was like, man, when I make money, I'm going to wear whatever I want. I'm going to dress, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So it's just one of those things you grow up thinking about. But, but that year that I went to that school, well, there was a basketball court, 2 of them, to 100 feet from the dormitory. Now, not only did I play at like these parks in Baker and Central growing up, like my freshman year and stuff. So I was always at the parks. I'd go down to this place called Scotlandville, and it's by Southern University. Probably there've been times when I first used to go there, I'd walk into the gym and everybody would look at me and stop dribbling the ball. They're like, does this guy know where he's at? I'm like, hey, and after I got on the court, it was all good. We were fine. It was fun. Everybody got to know me, and as I grew up. But that year was probably, first off, I went from 5'9" to 6'3" in that summer. So when I came home the first visit, and I had to stay there for like 6 months. I couldn't come home. Nobody saw me. Nobody knew what was going on. I came home. I had to take medication, like pain pills, because of my shins.
Oh, yeah.
Like 5'9" to
Yeah,
6,
literal
5'9"
growing.
to 6'3".
Yeah,
And
literal growing
like,
pains, dude. right?
Yes,
Yep.
yes. And it was the craziest thing. I was laying in my dorm bed in the bunk bed, just like, and everybody's like, what the heck's going on? Didn't gain any weight, just grew. They, but when I came back, and then I had to deal with my body, the mechanics of my body. Like I'm sitting there, my feet got to be like a 13 all of a sudden. I'm like, man, I was awkward. But that basketball. I actually made all state, all stars, all district that year for this smaller school. And then when I got out, some of the other schools, that the school I went to, they offered me a full ride to play ball. They were like, as bad as I wanted to go back to that small little school, there were other options. And so I went actually to live with my stepdad
Oh,
because he was living in Port Allen, and I went to Port Allen, had a great, I mean, my team, I still keep in touch with my teammates there. We had a really good team. I was the only white guy on the team. So we used to always pick around and we would always make fun of each other. We had a close bond. And then about halfway through the year, there's a race riot at my school.
what year
Like
is this?
crazy. This is a 92, I think it
Yeah,
was, if
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
correct. It's
Uh-huh.
92, 93.
Rodney
Rodney
King.
Like,
King year.
Rodney
Yep.
King.
yes, yes. And like, it's the craziest thing because this is West Baton Rouge right across the bridge. And like, look, I'm cool with you know me. I mean, if you had a problem with me, that's cool. If I got a problem with you, I'm pretty sure something happened and we're just not going to get along, and that's fine. But I mean, I've always gotten along because look, I'm a guy that went to like, let me see, from kindergarten, I went to this little school in Baton Rouge. I think I went to like 10 schools, K
Yeah.
through 12. You see what I mean? So I was
Yeah, you're
always having to
always
go to
starting
different schools.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the big thing, and so I was always making, and it works. It came to my favor as I grew older. I mean, it seems like everybody from Baton Rouge, West Baton Rouge, and it was a good thing. But yeah, this was odd. I'm pulling up in the school. You see people, the cops are there, all this stuff's going on. I wasn't involved in it, but and then, but it was rough because, like I said, I was the only white guy on the team, and people were. It's hard at that time, at that age, to discern things. And if
Yeah.
it wasn't for certain people on my team and other people at the school that I was close with, I'd have probably got jumped. Because look, I was actually still going to school, even though they didn't mandate people to go to school. Because I mean, I was like, I'm not involved in it. I'm not I'm not that guy. But I mean, it put it like they had parents that came to school. They were talking about waiting outside for kids. It was rough.
Yeah.
They had cops all there, and this was 92. They put metal detectors at the school for a little bit, but we all got together. We finished up our season and
And
had a good summer season.
did your team have any problems after that,
We
or were
we
you
did
still
we
as
didn't
close?
No, we didn't have any problems.
Yeah.
Coach Ardwan actually didn't let me go to practice for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. I actually
Wow.
didn't. I didn't start it, but he didn't know. He
No.
was just like he didn't. But once me and the guys, he would see like me, Jamar Mason. He's a really close friend of mine. One of the he was our point guard, and me and him. I mean, me and him are still close to this day. Like he
Sweet.
actually just he overcame a battle with cancer not long ago. Huge. He's somebody that I look up to, and his story is just amazing. But we still keep in touch, and a bunch of other guys we keep in touch. But after it was all squashed, we finished up the season. We actually went to a basketball camp as a team that summer and did awesome. We were laughing. I was like, man, I wish we could have finished up our season like this. And then that next year, it was me and my dad had gotten into it.
Hmm.
Me and him, we weren't seeing eye to eye, and he basically was like, he didn't want me there. You could kind of per se, and
Which
I
you can
and I didn't want to
feel.
be this.
Yeah, and you can
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
that.
Which I was like, and but him taking me in was probably big, and I mean, some men wouldn't even do that, but he did. And I went back to my mom's, and there was a small private school in Central Private, and they had a coach from Australia. I don't know if you know this guy, Jason. His name's Eddie Payubiscus, and he picked me up with a bunch of other. It was listed, and this is the truth. It's Central Private. It's an all white school.
Right. Okay.
Never had a white person. Basically, when I walked in, people looked at me like, "Who is this guy?" Like, just because the olive color complexion, and they're like asking about my mom and dad, and Eddie's like, "He's with me." Well, Eddie picked me and a couple of other boys from around the Baton Rouge area to come play. And we had this girl, Christy Sides, at our school. She was Miss Louisiana, Miss Mississippi basketball. She played. I think she coached for LSU. She played at La Tech, and then she went to the NBA for a little while. She's hands down probably the best player that I've been around. I mean, male or female, she was just that good. But that's what brought him there. And so he started a dynasty with us. Like he had a bunch of us that would go to JUCO, D1s, D2s. He had it all. And he started to bring in Australian players. And so we had a string, I think, from my first year, from 94 to like 2000, where the basketball team every year would put out at least 3 or 4, signees. And they started getting 7-footers and all this. It's crazy, some of the teams they had. And and then I think he left after a while, after Christie graduated, some other stuff, but they still had some success with that team. And so, yeah, and then that's when I left, went and played basketball. My
So
first
that was
option
your
was to go.
senior year? That's where you graduated from
Yeah,
there?
that was my senior year.
Okay.
Graduated from there in '94.
Okay.
Which seems like forever a long time ago, but
Yeah.
it's 20 something years. And but then my thing is I really didn't have I didn't have that male figure to where you're going to go. Well, I had some coaches, and I thank God for these coaches. Excuse me. That's what I think about now when I'm coaching my kids, and I think about some of these kids that I get, and some of them don't have these father figures, and you kind of take a little shine to some of them. But if it wasn't for my coaches, I mean, look, I can tell you my coaches from. There was Al Lemoyne, first one. He was in 6th grade. This guy, his daughters went to school with us, and he might have played basketball in high school, but he was there with our 6th and 7th grade team, probably not even getting paid, but he was there to do it. And another guy, Marcus Wakely, we used to make fun of him. He was one of our science teachers. But then a big influence on me was a coach, Don Green, and he played at LSU. He was Bethany's coach, and he was a 5'8" guy, 5'9". But let me tell you, he expected respect out of everybody, and he got it. He was just that guy, and
Well, I've seen you coach, and it definitely, all of that story comes through because I see the way you work with those kids, and it's commendable, and it's super inspiring because they connect with you.
Yeah.
It's a seamless connection.
Yeah. It's fun. I mean, it's fun, but also I think about it, and it's not just sports, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do that I try to make it different is, hey, this is sports. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of work with these kids in the way that they need to be worked with for the sport itself, but let's have fun, especially at a younger age. Now I've coached some in high school back in the 90s and some other, but I mean, I still think of it like, hey guys, let's learn the fundamentals, like in volleyball with the boys I coach. Let's learn what we need to learn. And then I'm able to teach them what I've learned and what I wish I would have learned. That's the biggest thing. I think that's one of the biggest learners, and that's what we've talked about. So after the basketball, I went to JUCO up in Mississippi, and then I actually came home, was walking on at Southeastern, and lo and behold, made the team. And then the girl I was dating at the time and I broke up, high school sweetheart, and I quit. And the coach was like, "Are you out of your mind?" I was like, and I turned down some offers in some smaller schools and some other places, but I ended up talking to somebody in Dallas. And so I went up there for a little while to go play, and I was playing at North Lake, and then was going to go transfer to North Texas. And lo and behold, I'd probably say 3/4 of the season, I just tore my ankle up. Basically, my ankle twisted on my own teammate in a practice to where my ankle touched the ground with my foot on the side. We just stuck my foot in a cooler and went to the doctor, and he was like, sometimes it's better if you would break and snap things. Somehow you did.
There's another parallel between you and I. I did that to my ankle in '94 with another teammate. Yeah. So it's brutal.
Running back with my own teammate's foot, big old size, 16, and I was like, what? And so that was at that point in time. And remember, I'm up in Dallas, never. I'm country come to town. I had never been anywhere like that. I'm from Baker, Louisiana. The furthest I've gone is like outside of Baton Rouge, maybe the Gulf Shores once or twice. So it was a 9-10 month experience. And then the crazy thing was, after all that was said and done, I had somebody contact me because I was out and about one night about the modeling thing. And I was like, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is a joke. She's like, I want you to contact me. And lo and behold, I did it. Got on the landline, called her up. And they said, come in. And so that started it. And I actually was able to get some jobs before I left. And then I came home and, just was wondering what I was going to do. And that's when I started the engineering thing. Went to LSU, started engineering, and then I transferred over to UNO. And that's where I finished up over there. But throughout that time, I was able to in the in between, I was able to do things with the modeling stuff and go to New York, and I went there and then LA. And so I was able to travel with that. I mean, it wasn't anything major. Did a lot of runway stuff, and it was fun. It was an experience,
Yeah.
And I did that for quite some time, but then finally got out of school. And so that was good, and started work and stayed busy and stuff like that. Well, I've got my two oldest. Stella wasn't even born yet. And I have never, and this is before I'd never even touched a volleyball in my life. This is 2007, 8, somewhere around there. And then a girl from UNO that was in engineering with me asked me if I'd ever played. And so I was like, no, I've never played. And so I went out with her one day just to go play, and didn't really think much of it. I had a good time, but a few months later, I would go to this Coconut Beach. I'd go out to the old location where Bruce White, he was running it. And we went, and I would watch people play. I was like, man, this is fun. And what it did actually is it kept me out of the nightlife in New Orleans, because I had been in that before, and that was, it's a hard pill to swallow if you let it catch up with you. So that's what I said. I stopped drinking since Seth was born. I'd stopped drinking. I was taking care of myself like I'd always done, but I wasn't doing anything active. And then I started to go to Coconut, and some people asked me to play in a league. So you're looking at 2009, started playing in some leagues and stuff just for fun, way down at the end of the courts. And a year or so later, Bruce asked me if I wanted to play, and he'd move me up on some courts. And probably 2 years into that, just once a week, we go every Thursday. There's it's huge, because at that time Coconut Beach was 21 courts, and they were all filled. Imagine having a complex, an inland complex, 21 courts with 8 teams per court.
That is so
crazy.
Fun.
Yeah,
it was the craziest thing. Jay, listen to this. Like, they had court 1. When I tell you, and look, you can ask Derek about this. And some like, I would go watch those guys. I thought those guys were amazing. I was like, look at these dudes go. They had a guy, his name was Jeff Wilson, called him Squirrel, and Cheese, another guy that Chris Centennial, Cheese, and Andre. I mean, they were good. They're good players. And then Kristen Nuss, Nuss's brother Pete, he was the man. I mean, he's arguably one of the better players that's ever come. Kristen, oh yeah. So we pick with him now. I was like, how's it feel for your sister to be the GOAT? So, but he was absolutely, he might have been one of the first males like that actually qualified, like back in the day. So yeah, Pete Nuss is his name. He played with another guy named Pat Tony, and they were just finishing up playing when I started. So I was able to do a few things with them. I didn't get a lot with them because, they were across the lake, but yeah, that's where Kristen gets it, man.
Absolutely. So, you definitely get that younger sibling vibe with her. That's just like, I'm scrapping and clawing, and it's absolutely.
She is.
Yeah.
She's so scrappy. So I would go and watch these guys on court 1. Had another guy named Eric Poirier, and like and it's 6s, it's 4s or 6s, so it's a big court.
Okay.
When I tell you, these dudes are banging each other. I mean, it was amazing. And the girls and this is the good thing. All the girls are either collegiate players, ex-collegiate players, or they're like top notch at the high school level. All of them. I mean, so there's 8 teams on court 1, and not one of them, I would say at that time for me, I mean, they were all stacked. But of course, you got Pete and Cheese's team and all that. They're like super stacked. So I was like, man, I would love to do this. And then a guy that used to play, Jeff Skiro, he was one of the better players to come out. He's this lefty, and that's what he actually contacted me. Now, my first partner ever was Bruce White. Craziest story. I was like, I'm going to play a doubles tournament. I think I can do it. Now, I was like, this is like double B, I don't know what I'm doing at all. I go there, my partner didn't show up. Bruce was like, I'll play with you. I was like, thanks. And he yelled at me the whole time, told me to, to get it together. I thought I was in decent shape. I'm dying. We broke pool somehow, and then we had to play in the playoffs the first round, and I'm like exhausted. He's like, just hit the ball. I'm like, okay, And so finally we were done. We got beat, and I was so happy. I was like, oh my God. He's like, you need to get in better shape. I was like, okay. And so then him and Jeff picked me up, and that's when I started to play.
Yeah.
So I worked with him a little bit, and actually played with him a little while, and then my first open win was with Derek Zimmerman. That was fun. And then I know, right? And so it was so funny. Derek's just ripping jump serves, and I was like, what do you want me to do? He's like, just grab the ball He's like, hit it if it goes up there. He's like, just get out of my way. I was like, all right, cool. So he's serving bullets to these guys like Jordan Merceron and I think Matt Blank. They're really good players now. But of course Derek was a seasoned vet at that time anyway.
Yeah.
And and then I think in the finals I cramped, of course, because of my size. I'm not used to this competition. And so he's like, drink a beer. I'm like, all right. So yeah, that was my first open win story. So, but
when did you start coming out? When did you start coming out to California?
2016.
Okay.
That's when I didn't really start playing. I would have done a
fucking
few
really.
I play a few.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, Jason. When I met you, that's what I said.
Because that's when I came out.
Yes, and then we ran in together. We ran into each other on the beach. Remember?
Yeah.
We went out there, and I talked to Mark Burek a little bit about maybe talking to somebody. But what happened is, that's when I went out there. But 2013, me and this Bryce Powers, I don't know if you know that name, but he was on The Bachelorette or The Bachelor.
Okay.
He's we call him Strong Jaw Bryce. He's a good looking fella. So me and him, of course, were these two 6'5", 6'4", ripped guys going around trying to play volleyball. Neither one of us knew what we were doing. Derek and some of the other guys tried to teach us what they could on the fast track. And we just kind of, if we won anything, it was out of athletic ability. It sure the hell wasn't because we knew what the hell we were doing. That's for sure. And we lost more than we won, but we had a good time. And then I think that Jay, is that the year that the AVP wasn't around? I mean, we weren't going to play the AVP anyway, but I don't even know if they're around because everybody.
Yeah,
that was the year the NVL came to
That's
Hermosa
right.
Beach.
Yeah.
The AVP wasn't in Hermosa Beach until like the year after.
That's right. And this is what started it. Me and Bryce, Derek was going up to the NVL in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Bryce was like, let's just go. I was like, what's the worst that can happen? I was like, we're going to get beat. And so we got there. Actually, we lost, but we did okay. And I just was like, and that's what kicked it off. I was like, man, this is awesome. I was like, what's funny is these guys probably don't know that I'm like, twice their age, some of them, because I wasn't 35. I was 35 then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
36 or something. And then that's whenever I was like, I know that there's more to it than what I know about the game. Yeah. And that's, I met Al B and some other guys, and I waited a year or two. I started to play some local tournaments, maybe make one to Florida and Texas. Won some, I got some better coaching, like Joey Keener, the coach that you guys
we met.
Yeah. Joey was one of the first to like pick me and a few other guys up in coaches, which was kind of wild, which was good. I'm pretty sure his coaching skill set wasn't what it is now. He's one of the best. He's one of the better coaches in this area now for sure. And he's been able to work with people like Evan and Ian and that training group right now. Yeah. So he's and he actually was coaching at Tulane with with Easy.
What's his name again?
And so I'm with Joey Keenan.
Oh, Joey. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, he did pretty well, but he was the first one to pick like me and some other players like Jordan Merceron and these other guys up. And what's crazy is it actually like people made comments to him. They're like, why are you doing that? And Joey was like, cause I think, if they want to play, they need to be coached. Yep. So,
Evan's out here. Evan's out here right now.
I know
he's planning on moving, and I think that's a mistake, but,
you think him moving from Baton Rouge, Louisiana?
Absolutely a mistake. 100%.
Yeah.
Would you like to know why without me monopolizing this episode?
No. Speak up.
No, tell me.
Speak up.
Please.
It's a mistake because in Louisiana, he has acute training with more personal attention from a highly capable, high IQ coach. And the reason why people move to California is because, Shawn, they're really looking for networking. They're looking to have competition against good quality opponents, right? Because the whole, the whole adage of iron sharpens iron. But I would suggest to you, and Wendy, she's right there, I would suggest to the both of you that you can get that just taking trips out here 4 or 5 times a year. It's economically advantageous to stay in New Orleans. That's one. 2, I can't name one team that got better significantly. I mean the highest level from doing training groups. Yeah. Training groups are a way to test what your coach has shown you and to put it into real game form. And the more training groups you're doing, the less you're actually getting a learning curve. You're getting small learning curves because you're facing different competitions, different genres, and this and that. The biggest example is Qatar.
Yeah, you're
Nope.
right.
Zero
Exactly
training groups. If they need to play the Spaniards, fine. The Norwegians, sure. We don't have a tan, but come to the gym. So I think Corey's making a mistake. Is how big a mistake? I think. Look, at the end of the day, the cream's gonna rise to the top. That kid, he's gonna do good regardless. I'm just talking about his economic. He shouldn't be out here paying rent every goddamn month, giving these motherfuckers his money, when he could just spend that money making the plane trips back and forth 4 or 5 times a year. That's just my opinion. I have a question for you before we get too far away from it, because you were on the roll, and this is Wendy's thing more than mine.
Yeah.
Shawn, people that get abused by their parents, there's usually a pattern where it's because their parents abuse them, and it's because their parents abuse them, and it's because their parents abuse them, and it's because their parents abuse them. So my question is, Shawn, did sports save all on this one? How much? How much? 100%. I want you to talk to me and Wendy a little bit about how, without sports, because I feel like I'm being presumptuous, but I think I could say this with you. Talk to us about how sports was the biggest difference maker of you not following the pattern of becoming what you despised with your kids.
Well, you're right. I did do that. I think in one of the biggest things. Now, listen, I was a troubled kid in the sense of, look, I used to fight a lot. Like, we laugh about it now, but I was like, man, I used to get expelled for the things I get glorified for now. With the jiu-jitsu stuff, and I did a little boxing and stuff, and just some outlets with some of my really close friends growing up. But I mean, I never stuck with any of it because basketball was always the primary. Played a little football and was good at that. I didn't play. I went up to my junior year and played football, and it was good stuff. But basketball was definitely the way. If I was going to succeed in anything extracurricular, that was it. But I say this to people, and this is a true statement: is hate is a powerful tool. It is. It's hate and it's.
Why does it seem like it lasts longer? Why does it seem like hate lasts longer?
Because you have to. And I think this is the truth. And it's because you have to see it's seated. It's seated down in there. When I tell you this, so the last time that my dad had ever abused my mom, this is a true. This is how it works. We were at the house. He was upset because me and her had come back, and my little brother was very young. And this is personal, but I mean, this is the truth. And he pinned her against the wall. He's slapping her, and I started yelling at him. And he started coming to me. I went and got an aluminum baseball bat. I'm only like in 5th or 6th grade. I hit it on the ground, and I was like, don't you touch her again. I said, I'm going to hit you. Don't. And I'm sitting there, this little kid just shaking. But I was like, so he's like, oh yeah. He threw him down and he left. And so when he does that, I like lost it. I ran down to the house. It was my best friend at the time. I ran down to their house and probably freaked him out, but I'm like shaking and yelling. I think my brother was there, and I just opened their door and I was like, he did it again. He's, and they're probably like, what probably looking at me to see if I got hit by a car or a truck or the fire truck. And yeah, that was the last time though. That was it. And I didn't want to see that ever happen.
A grown man with a bat. Now I think that kind of takes care of that, right?
Yeah, and I was like, and I'm pretty sure he knew that at that point in time, even I was a kid, I was going to swing it. You know what I mean? So that, and we've had our differences, but since then, and there's been some other parts that are just worse than others. But once I got older, like Wendy, but I played with aggression. I've always been an aggressive person. I think one of the things, like in basketball, my biggest thing was, scoring 20, 30 points, that's cool. But you know what? I'd bang out, as a 6'5" small forward, I would bang out 15, 20 rebounds. And I would manhandle people. And I always think about that. Lance Armstrong said the same thing. I think that was one of his a focus that he was is hate. It's a strong tool to use on and off the court. It's bad. It's a bad thing. But no, I've never been physical with a woman. I've never been, because I despised it.
Well,
so, but
you guys both have these stories in your background that are, if there's anything that's my North Star, it's this healing, this generational trauma pattern that does repeat and
Yeah.
repeat. And Jay hit the nail on the head with that question. But it's amazing to see the time I've spent with both of you and the amazing way that you've come through it and use that aggression to turn yourselves into such honorable men that are strong and then equally are comfortable honoring strong females. And I think that's a conversation that if this world could grab onto, instead of saying, you know, this is a feminist movement, this is a, you know, African Americans or Caucasians or Asians or whatever it is pitting us against each other, the two of you with these backgrounds, you've come through some amazingly difficult times and then use those to sharpen yourself and create, you know, connection between people that are so different.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's so
True.
great about us is we can sit here and you could bring anyone in on this conversation. I don't understand. You would have a hard time finding someone that doesn't see the beauty of where you guys have come and then what you celebrate coming out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I speak for Shawn on this when, I mean, you see the end product and that's the beautiful part, and I think Shawn will co-sign with me on this one. I just think reminding people that are going through what we've gone through, realizing that, telling people that you realize that this is not, the path is never going to be pretty. And Shawn will co-sign with me on this one. The path to get to where Shawn is was not pretty. It was deeply flawed on his part. It was flawed on my part. My abuse has made me abusive towards other things, and in some cases towards other women and this and that. And only, you know, maybe a decade and a half ago, I was able to compartmentalize those things. And I don't know what inciting incident makes you hit the reset button. Or maybe it's not just one inciting incident, right, Wendy? Maybe it's just a series of things that builds over till it finally pushes you off the cliff where you got to hit that reset button. So I'm speaking generally, and I'm going to give you the floor, Shawn, on this one, because I think you co-signed with not exactly the same abuse. Mine was my mom, and mom was, you know, had a freaky ass piano teacher and this and that, which amongst two or three other things, it was crazy. But I think the common denominator is if we can convey that, you know, to whoever's going through this shit, right? Hey, I know it's not easy, but the other end looks like this.
And
the other end looks like this.
And you have to come through it.
Yeah.
You have to, and so feel comfortable enough.
Because they don't see a path, Wendy. But they don't see the path.
No.
Who else? Shawn, did you see a path when you were balls deep in this? Neck deep in this, right?
Not even
no,
close.
A way out.
I mean, look, not even close. Between 1999 and 2004, before Seth was born, like I was in nightclubs and stuff in the French Quarter, and a buddy of mine owned a really popular nightclub. So of course that was a lifestyle. I was still in school. I don't know. Sometimes I thought I was there, but that was rough. I mean, like the drug abuse and stuff like that. And that's one reason actually I didn't pursue going to play basketball and some other things, because drugs. I mean, I got into them in Dallas, of course, of all places, and it kind of just followed me, especially once I got into that industry. And that fashion industry, like the people were great. Like my old, some people that were integral in helping me out. I mean, they actually tried to help me whenever I was starting to get really deep into it. You know, Tracy Dundas, thank God for her. But, you know, she got me all the work. She got me the jobs from, you know, the Versace shows and this and that and the other. And then whenever the filming crew came, that's where she's the one that got me the shows with Lindsay Lohan and doing the commercials here and getting some of the bigger, you know, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and all that stuff that I got to be part of. Thank God for people like her.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. Like that's what I probably got. Like this is the mask from the movie. I had it up here. I was supposed to, but like, so this is the mask that we wore when I was an elite guard for.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So me and Bryce got this job. It was kind of funny. You went for Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger. When she told me about it, I was like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome. So you know, some other people had brought it up to me. And so we go to this casting, and it's like, so you apparently had to be between 6'2" to 6'5", 220, you know, 250, 210 to 220. When I tell you we walked in this room of specimens, I'm looking around, I was like, and the lady's like, take your shirts off. I was like, what? So I'm like, wait, what is this? What's going on? This ain't, we're about to audition for the Chippendales or whatever. And like, so it's almost 40 of us. And so, we're taking our shirts off. Everybody's shredded. They got professional wrestlers in this place. They've got all these models. They got all these other guys. And so look, Jay, when I was in my 20s, I was even more ripped. Because I didn't have a ounce of body fat. I was still playing basketball and everything else. And so we start doing it. And then she starts picking us out. She's like, you over here, you. So she picks out 12 of us. And then she makes the rest. She's like, go home. And people are like, I just flew in from LA. I just flew in from LA. My agent's sitting here. And she was like, bye-bye. And like, I was like, oh my God. So I filmed for about 12 weeks with that. That was awesome. I got to do some things, which, it's just a fun thing. And I didn't quit my day job, of course. I'm still an engineer. Good. But, so that was the fun thing about it. But in between that time, so it had, the experiences that I've gotten, people probably like, this is crazy. You're going to do all that. Like I got that kissing scene with Lindsay Lohan. And so like when I went to go watch the movie, this little girl behind me, she was like, because this is when I had that long hair, and she was like, you sure do look like that guy. And then I
whoa, hold on a second.
Jason's just
hold up. So Shawn, yeah, I'm gonna look at the camera when I say this. So in addition to Lindsay Lohan getting all them breaks in court, lady, this is your last strike. I know last time was your last time, but I mean it this time. So in addition to getting all them strikes and keeping her ass out of jail, she got to kiss Shawn Ledig
for a couple of hours, for about an hour straight. We went back and forth. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. It was my friends, they didn't believe me at first. Like, no, it's going to come out. And then, of course, every time it comes on HBO or it would, my friends would text me. They're like, oh my God. I'm like,
wow, dude. Yeah.
Well, might have to go look that up.
Shit.
No, it's called just.
Is there some on YouTube?
Just my luck.
I think I've had it. I've actually, the first time Stella saw it, she was young, and I think I've got a video of it. I have to send it to you guys.
Yeah. Is it on YouTube?
I don't know.
I can find that.
That one is. I think actually, if you go on Facebook and you look up, just my luck and me, look up my name, it'll probably
just
pull
my
up.
Luck.
And just my luck, and so. And Stella saw it, and she, in her little giggle, she was younger. She started laughing. She was like, "Oh my God, it's Dad!" And then all of a sudden, she goes, "Why did you kiss that lady?" I was like, "Oh, it's a movie." I had to explain it's a movie. It's just a movie. So, but going through all that stuff, I mean, it's been, I've never really, and I've always been one to live life. Like I'm not going to ask questions. I'm not going to ask why or what if, and that's what the volleyball thing. I mean. I blew a lot of time, especially with drugs and stuff with basketball. Like I had opportunities, like Eddie had worked with me. He wanted me to go play in Australia in a league over there, which would have been awesome. There's a guy named Ken Cole and some other. I played against the Australian national team, and I really wanted to go, but the vices I had, and just it wouldn't have been trustworthy.
I've got a question. I got a question for you on that, and I don't know if you've ever watched the Chris Herron story, but I just watched it again on the plane the other day.
Yeah,
he's Fresno State. That's straight out of my hood, and that 30 for 30 on his life is crazy. But
the hell is this?
It's wild.
When
Hold
you
look at
here we go.
There.
The hell is this?
Oh yeah. I get to kiss her, and then I get to kiss Bree Turner. So this is the funny part. Everybody's like, dude, what are you doing? So the premise of the movie is that she lost her life kissing people. And so, but I was the lucky guy that got to kiss both of them.
That's awesome.
Man, they need to put you back on that screen.
What? Oh yeah.
Shawn.
That's classic.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's funny. What's even better is I'm driving in from Florida. I just picked up, my brother had got me a car from an auction. And this is, I want to say, this is before Katrina, I think. And it might have been and so I'm driving the car back. I get a call from the producer. I had went for an audition before for another scene, and I got cut. Me and my buddies Joe and Sean and all of us. And this was even funnier. So we get to this audition. This is a different totally audition. There's 40 of us in a row, and the guy that you saw in the scene I was in, he gets us up and he starts teaching us dance moves. Now, number one, I would say maybe 35 of us, are straight, and I'm pretty sure hopefully some of them have rhythm. I mean, I've got a little rhythm, so I was okay. But he starts teaching us like eight counts, and like everybody's looking at each other. So we got in groups of 5. I'll never forget it. And then he taught us the dance steps, and we're going at it. And after a while, you start to sweat a little bit. And I got down to like the last cut, and all he needed was like 3 or 4. I got down to the last 5 or 6, and then they cut me. I was like, oh my gosh, all of this for nothing. But they called me back later, and a few months later, and they said that they had a change of mind, and they wanted me to come in. And so I come in, and as I'm getting home, my roommate at the time was Jim. He's in that scene as well. He's like this. He was an Abercrombie and Fitch model, like Midwest. He's from Michigan. Dude looks like he's that guy. Like we went to the Abercrombie thing together, and at that time, this was kind of odd. They told me I was too ethnic looking. I'll never forget that. Look, dude, I'm like sitting there with all these blonde-haired, blue-eyed guys. Like all of us.
Well, yeah.
We got that. But like they were all like straight up farm boys with like they were beautiful men. Trust me. Like we're all sitting there, but like that's the lady. She's like, we really like you. We like the things about you. She's like, but you're a little ethnic for this. And I'm like, what?
Think about those ads though. Those guys all looked exactly the same.
Oh, they were all Midwest farm boys.
Yeah.
They were kind of some Cali type boys, but he was actually one of their guys on their posters and everything. So he calls me, he said, hey, I got this gig I got to go to. And we started talking. It's the same gig. Well, they had got him and I. It was going to be out of him or I. And so when we got there, they started fixing our hair up and stuff, doing some stuff. And they started putting a microphone on me. And I was like, what's this? And she's like, they picked you.
What?
And so he's like, right. Yeah. So I'm picking with him and everything. So we get the first scene. We're doing this for, they set everything up the first hour or two. We get there, they're fixing all this up. We get out, and I'm just trying to be a jokester. So I had some little bitty mint strips. So
I know this is
she
going.
comes out, and some people come out, and she goes. And first I said, she looked at me, and we were talking, and we kind of just getting to meet each other. And I said, hey, my lips aren't going to be burning like the next week after I kiss you. And she's like, oh my God, like, kind of broke the ice. And then I was like, here's a mint strip. And so like, and then we hit it off, and I did another scene or two with her because I got to film a couple of weeks, which was fun. And it was a new experience to me. Like I'd never had to do anything like that. So it was very cool, getting to meet some of those people, hung out with them, went out with them every now and then with one of my agents, but it was a good experience. But then work started, and Seth was born, and after he was born, I really, that's what changed me, Jay. That's what changed me in the sense of I wasn't just dealing with myself, and then I knew at a young age what I had to deal with not having a father figure, a full, there full time, and I was like, that's not going to be him, no matter what. No matter whether I'm with his mother or not, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be that dad. I'm going to be the dad. Yeah. And so I've always been there. And so, and it's not always been easy. I mean, I didn't get a lot of time with him at first because him and his mother, we weren't married and we weren't together. But, the court system does its thing. They make their decisions. And he turned 18 last week. And I mean, you guys have met him. Yeah. He's a kid.
It's a rad
I'm going to put up this little chip off the old block. I'm going to embarrass him a little bit. But that's a really good picture. Is that not a good black and white? Is that not a good black and white, Shawn?
The lady that took those shots, man, she did a great job with our family photos.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah. So
he needed
that. The question I was going to ask you when Jay pulled up all the good movie stuff, but and leading into Seth. No. Oh, those are. I know. Oh, those were great shots.
Wait. Well, no, we got to zoom. Look at him.
The little guy.
Yo, you want me to Shawn, you want me to caption that? Shawn's like, dude, come over and take the picture, and he's like, can you press click, please? What does that face say? He looked like he got a case of the ash, Shawn.
Oh man.
Hey, all business. And you know the best thing about that whole shoot, he picked that suit out.
Oh, okay.
What a little stud.
Little man picked that suit out. And he wore it the other night. He wore the pants.
Just go back really
with a pair
quick.
of multicolor Crocs.
Yeah.
I was like,
I gotta go back. Let's go back. There he is.
Some good stuff.
That boy is like.
He is.
He's like, what the fuck are you looking at?
Look, hey, that's my guy right there. He turned 7 in December.
Nice. 7,
and,
huh?
That's what. Yeah, and then so having him, it's been a different experience with him since he's with me full. I'm raising him full time. I always
7 years
had that
old,
with
Shawn.
Stella.
7.
Yeah, 7.
He's 7.
He just
So
turned 7.
fucking fast.
So
Time flies, dude. 7.
dude, do you remember Jay? That's right. He's come with me everywhere. So he was there at the NVL. That first NVL I played with Shane Sig, and then that's me and you. Was it the first one? The second one that me and you got on behind the mic together.
It was Hermosa Beach.
Was that 2016?
That was 2016, Hermosa Beach.
Yeah,
this is my birthday.
That's right, Hermosa Beach. That's right.
This is my birthday.
And so Albie was like, "Hey, I want you to meet this guy." And it's more me and you. Hit it off, and we had a blast behind the mic together. And
it was my honor, man. It was my honor because look, I was still going through one of those "who the fuck is this guy" things at that time in 2016, and me, all they needed to do was put a microphone and the headset in front of me. I just waited. I'm a little hater, but I was like, in my heart of hearts, I'm like, no, but in my heart of hearts, I was like, all they need to do is put me in front of the mic. Because just like I was talking about Evan Corey, about moving and this and that, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter if you are who you think you are.
Say you are. Yeah.
So, guys, sorry, Shawn. So you were talking. Sorry, I'll continue. You were talking about NVL. We first met.
When we first met with the NVL, that was an experience there. I still didn't, sometimes I think back, it's like, oh man, you didn't belong there because I really hadn't been coached or trained. You working with me in California was some of the first times that I really had somebody that, us going out to play was real.
It was so much fun, Wendy.
Besides Joey. And at that time, I think, people always like, what would you have done in your 20s? Well, in my 20s, I had a, 40 plus inch vertical. I was a good athlete. But like I said, it's can't ask what if. So you just go with what you got and push forward. And let's not ask what if. Let's find out what can we do.
Well, Shawn, there were some things I knew that would help. I came into the whole beach scene predominantly, for the most part, like 19 years indoor coaching, but I knew there's certain things that translate from indoor to outdoor. That's the block, taking care of first hit. In fact, it's even harder for indoor because first hit indoor is more target specific than it is just a up and down. Being able to see the court, wait for an up and down set. So. And those are the two things where I thought you needed the most improvement. I thought you wanted to be able to set your partner, right? Because in beach volleyball,
that's
right?
What I say.
No, beach volleyball, right? When someone says they have a big guy, right?
You just gotta
are they going to ask if the big guy can hit? No, probably not. No. They're going to ask if the big guy could block. Hopefully, yes. But maybe block to his height at least. Yeah. But then that ultimate question. If you can
set, you can keep moving up. That's
right.
I will say that across the board
Yes, and it took me a while to understand that. It took me a while. The game was different for me too because I also used to physical, hands-on sports. Mm-hmm. So basketball is physical more so than volleyball. But what volleyball indoor, I didn't get to play much, but I got to play in some like the nationals. I had fun. It just tore my body up, but I liked indoor because of the speed. I was a small middle when I was playing on some of these teams.
There it is.
Different like Chicago and Dallas and DC and all that. But it beat me up. So, because me, I go hard at whatever I do. So, this 4 days, 4 days at nationals just killing me. I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. But the beach, it was so specific. And I'm trying to think of when I moved up to Ohio for about with my business for about 2 or 3 years in the oil business. And that is when I forgot what the first specific group, the guys out of Cincinnati and the guys out of Columbus, Corey Robinson and some of those guys. That's whenever I met you too. It was actually NVL Ohio at Flanagan's. That's when I met a group. I was like, hey, I'm moving up here for some work because we got an oil business and I'm going to be, coming up to do some business. And I would go and travel from Steubenville to Columbus and then Columbus sometimes to Cincinnati just to get coaching, to work with like John Drake, and those guys, they have a super strong group and they did at that time. And I used to say this all the time. I was like, hey, you can say that it's California and Florida and this and that. I was like, you got to throw in Ohio and that Midwest in there.
The style of coaching. Sorry, the style of coaching is almost a Nazism of being perfect on the skill set. And it shows in their club sports like Ohio Valley. Yeah. It shows in their sport, and all of those kids are largely recruited since the attack. Ohio State, if you look at the last 10 NCAA men's champions, 3 of the last 10 champions are Ohio State. People forget that. Like what? Last year was Hawaii, and then from there it's just the year of the repeat champ, right? It was Long Beach State, Ohio State, Irvine, Loyola Chicago, and then before that Ohio State. So I totally co-sign with you. Also highlighting Ball. Lloyd Ball's father is retired. He's just retired from IPFW. Yeah. He's hanging up his spurs, but those are skill Nazis, dude. They don't just line up kids and look for the best athletes. So you really had to pay dues all over again because they didn't just see big guy that could block. Right?
It was good. I mean, you're right. And some of them, and a lot of them knew I was green. So they picked, that's another good thing on my part. They knew that I just kind of started the thing. And I was actually, I was open about it. I was like, look, I can't pass. I can't do the, and they're like, okay. So, and the passing took a little while once I learned from I came back home. There was a group in Louisiana that I'd worked with as well. But Drew Hamilton, he actually, I wish I'd have gotten Drew earlier. But Drew, that's, Taryn and Kristen's coach. Drew actually was like, hey, he took some time and we played, we had a really good, strong group here in Louisiana for a while that we would practice at Diggs and at Coconut. But Diggs had the indoor facility. Oh, it was me, Evan, Drew, Joey, Ian. They had some guy, JD would come in. I mean, 10, you're right. It was 10 players that we would just go at it for hours because we could. Basically, I was the first one to tap. I was like, guys, my legs are about to give out. But we would do that 3 or 4 times a day, or at least, a week to, we would get some good practices and stuff. But like, I get what you're saying with Evan too, him moving out there. I think with him, it's that he wants the consistent competition because he's going to be the big man on campus for a lot of places he goes. I think maybe he just wants to get that experience, which I think for him, and I told him, this is between you and I told him years ago, I said, you're going to have to go test the waters out. Like me, remember me from 2016 to 2018, I was going out to California, 4 times a year, 5 times a year. So I get what you're saying. When I played with Billy Jones and Priscilla Lima was coaching us a little bit. Yeah, Pre. Pre was there. And so I would go out to, the good thing is Billy lived over there in PV. Yeah. So I would stay with him. Or then I started, I'd get a hotel. I'd get, a week or 2 of a place to stay. And so but that was good enough for me. But whenever we'd go, I got there and we would work hard. And then I was ready to come home. So let him get out there and check it out. Yeah. Well, he's with the right people. Just this morning alone, he was with Mike Campbell, Long Beach State women's beach coach. Great personality. I think he's Budinger and Patterson's coach for a long time, and I think he's going to stay with Bud when Bud plays with Troy Field. But this morning, good scrimmage. It was Travis Muirwitter and Evan Corey, 2 lefties, switching up, hitting Oceanside against Budinger and Troy Field. Nice. Honestly, those are the kind of players where, as far as iron sharpening iron, if that's the purpose you came out with here, those are the kind of faces. And I'm not talking about just the top ranked beach players, because on the neutral ground, you know who the real men are, right? Like, look at Atlanta, right? The neutral ground, nuts and cloth, right? Look at Chicago, the ultimate proving ground, right? Partain got to the end. So I'm not just saying that's because they're high echelon players, but if those guys were the reasons where he moved out here to play against, good. Keep playing those guys. Stay on, keep sharpening iron with those guys. Well, I think he'll do that. The one thing, I don't know if he stays out there all year like a lot of people would do. They'll stay the season. They'll stay a little bit past the season and then go in a little early. What's the real Come on, what's the real reason, Wendy? Come on, you sitting here all quiet. Well, say it. Weather. Say it with me. Well, not weather. 2 words. Say it, Wendy. Don't make me say
relationships. Being 23 or 24 years old, living in Hermosa Beach, living the life.
Isn't she's adorable, isn't she? I'll do it for her, okay? Yep. Savvy Simo. You have been out. You have been outed. Hey, that's a good reason. That's a good reason. It is. Wendy, you're adorable. You could have just said that.
I know. Yeah. She was awesome to talk to yesterday, and she wouldn't have cared because she brought it up too.
She's going to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
She's going to come on the podcast.
Awesome. That is awesome. So yes, but all that time, what's wild is it's all led. And it's built my character in a way. Look, and I'm not perfect by any means. I've stumbled and failed like everybody else more times. Look, I've failed at so many things. Most people don't want to share their failures, but man, I got beat. I can. This is the one thing I can tell you. I'll take a beating. You're probably gonna have to kill me before I stop something.
Yeah.
if I'm focused on it, if I'm obsessed, and I am that way, I've got an obsessive personality. Just
Yeah.
so like we showed the little man on there, he's we got him into jiu-jitsu a little over a year ago, and he had asked me to start it, and I was like, this is fun. I'll think about it. And I did a class or two, but I mean, we were still revving up for me and Chris were still playing, we were ready for Atlantic City. So I mean, I didn't put a lot of effort into it. I went to a couple of classes, and then but I was still working to get out because I hadn't played with the COVID thing. Remember, I got hurt, right in Austin, I think in 2019 with my hip labrum, and so I was kind of coming off an injury, especially at our age. I mean, at my age of 45. It sucked. I mean,
Yeah.
I got some PRP injections, and I did everything you could possibly imagine. I kept my body in shape. The diets that my diet is 7 days a week. It's not, everything I do, supplementation, everything, the trainers I go see, the physical therapist I go see, the chiropractors I go see. I mean, this is
It's
a
a
7 day a
full-time
week
job.
thing.
Yeah,
It is.
Shawn and
I
I
mean,
go
people
back
can
and
say,
forth. I love the stuff he posts because
yeah,
we can line our products up next to each other. He'll put something on his story, and
yeah,
I'm
I
like,
know.
yep.
But
So
how many times have I sent you a picture, like to say some of the CBD stuff and everything, and you're like, you'll send me a picture back of
right
the same
back.
product. So we do this
Totally.
all the time.
Yeah.
But like it's like, and I don't, and that's how, like, people ask me, they're like, what do you do and how do you do this? Well, it changes now with the so 9 months ago I said, you know what, Soren? Yeah, let's get into it. So I started jiu-jitsu after we got back from Atlantic City. Really was like when I first went multiple times a week and got into a little tournament because Seth got into it. I actually won. Could have lost that one easy. I think it was actually one of my own teammates, Craig Gaspard, that I competed against. He's a little younger than I am, but super, super good
Huh.
athlete, very strong person. And that kind of kicked an interest. I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool, I said, I love the volleyball thing, but I was like, this is something where it's just me by myself. And not to say that I ever had any partners that caused me, to lose any kind of major games or anything.
No.
But,
Okay.
but like, I mean, it's really, I liked it, and it just piqued my interest. So I started to train a little harder, and then another tournament came up. So I won that one, won a silver medal in that. I won multiple medals in that. And then I went to the big boys, and that's when I went to Vegas. I got that gold medal. And then the next one was the one I was in Anaheim, and I wish I could have caught up with you guys. It was just crazy, me getting in there, getting into Anaheim.
Did you win Anaheim too?
I did. I won that gold medal.
Yeah.
So that was the Masters International. So look, you see all those bad boys back there?
Oh man, nice. Line them up next to each other.
Oh, so yeah, so this is the one here. Like these. So
did you hear the weight of the clanging?
Look,
I just heard the weight. I just heard the weight of the clanging.
Look, yeah, oh yeah.
Nice.
So they're both IBJJF, is International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. So this one was Vegas. This was Jiu-Jitsu Con, which but it was a big stage, but it wasn't This one here is almost like the World Cup, Jay.
Yeah.
So I pulled this one off, and it was good. Look, the competition was awesome. Actually, competed against two phenomenal competitors, and just that I ended up, making it out on top. So with that, we decided that I was going to go to Rome next month, and I'm going to go compete in the European Championships.
Very nice.
So,
yeah.
So there's really 4 big tournaments throughout the season or the year. It's the Pan Americans, the Vegas Worlds.
Yep.
They got the international, and then they've got the European. So, but I'm number 1 in my weight division right now in the world.
Very good.
It's super heavy, but I'm actually competing at a younger age.
Okay.
The first tournament, nobody was in there in my division, so I moved down to I guess 1980 and up.
Got you.
I'm 1975. So I ended up getting my points in that. So I was like, you know what? I wrote this down in my journal about 7 months ago that I wanted to win some tournaments, and then I said I want to become, and I said it. It's in there. I mean, I can show you. I want to become and I'm a big proponent of that. Like any of the girls that I've ever coached, any of the boys I coach, first thing I say is get a journal.
Yep.
You're going to write down what colleges you want to go to, what it is, why you want to do this, how you think we're going to do this. And then we talk about it. And then you need to give me three things that you want to accomplish in volleyball, 3 things that you want to accomplish in your school, your education, and then 3 things you want to accomplish in your life. So I do that for myself. And that's what I put. I said, I want to become, and I said it, number one at my, in my division, in my uh, weight class, in my age, in the world. And
Yeah.
so I looked at it and I knew it was feasible. I said, if I win this tournament, win this tournament, win this tournament, I can do it. So if I go to Europe and I win that uh, tournament, the European Championships, I'll take the number one spot overall, not just in my weight division. So
That's gonna be
it's
great.
gonna,
Wendy's going to be
it's
so
gonna be,
great.
So
Yeah. Were you
I'm ready.
Yeah.
were you skinny as a kid?
I was, I was skinny. And so that, like, I laughed. That's what me and Wendy were talking about earlier. I was like, I looked like I looked very
Oh,
young
yeah.
growing up. So that's
So did
why
I.
I mean now people are like, oh, I said maybe it's a blessing, it's a curse. I wasn't like some buffed up guy. I like after I got out of high school and I found out what the weight room was in college,
Right.
I gained weight fairly quick. My first time I ever worked out was with a strength coach called Gail Hatch. He was an Olympic weight trainer. And when I tell you this guy put us on the map as far as like man, he made me work out with a broomstick for the first 3 weeks, it seemed like. And that's what he does. But he had everybody from Warwick Dunn to Todd McClure, you name it, had all of the LSU players out there. And our coach, Eddie was like, you need to go see him. And so you're talking, this is me, a guy that could dunk from the dots, as a
Wow.
natural athlete. And after about 3 months with him, I was dunking from almost the free throw line and putting my chin above the rim because it's all powerlifting.
Right.
I'd never lifted a weight in my life. I don't know if you know a guy named Lester Earl. He played for Glen Oaks and LSU.
Yeah, Glen Oaks.
Randy and
Yep.
guys. Yeah. And so whenever we would work out together, we were so unbelievably weak. We would work out with the 45-pound bar and like 10-pound dumb and like shaking. And then, as a 17, 18-year-old, of course, your body's going to physically mature quicker. So, yeah, I went from that 175 weight to 195. People are like, oh, my, look at this guy. He's on steroids. I'm like, no, I just
No,
worked out.
you're on hard work.
I was like, that's what I'm saying. I was like, and we did that 3 or 4 times a week. And of course, at this club called Spectrum, all the basketball guys used to go there. So we would work out. Me and my teammate Rusty Chapman, who was he was one of the better point guards that came out of, and we were just talking about this the other night, out of Baton Rouge one time. He played for NLU. I'm trying to think of where else he played. He went to a few different colleges. He was really good point guard.
Right. Yeah.
And so he went to that school, Central Private. He was one of those scored 40, 50 points a game type guy. So he helped us all out. But yeah, these strength coaches helped us out tremendously. So that started my health and fitness journey, was that right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number one, I mean, I liked the fact that I was gaining weight and feeling stronger and all that stuff. But then I started to learn more and more about the health and wellness of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wait, and
So-
tell me, because you've said, and you can tell by your lifestyle, your brain moves so fast, right? And you're always on the move. So, how have the things that you've done helped that process? I can see how, all of the things you do go into train that brain and then use it to its best. When you say it's a blessing and a curse, how have the sports helped you make that more of a blessing than a curse?
Well, I think it's the practicing.
Yeah.
Never bothered me. Practicing never bothered me in any sport that I ever did.
Huge.
And that's huge. That's another people.
That's huge.
And people will tell you that if you know me, even at a younger age, you would like one of those. You won't outwork me.
You're right.
You just won't do it. You're not going to do it. And so even as a kid, like I would go to practice and I would come home and I'd shoot more, I'd play more, or I'd get on my strength shoes and I'd go run around the goddamn block.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those things. And like, but I mean, like I said, but what it would do sometimes is like, I wasn't a straight A student, but I would have to break away from those things just in case. I'd have to break away from the sports every night. It was hard for me to differentiate between the two.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
My teachers knew that too. I mean, I had teachers my senior year, like, good thing for basketball, and they would tell me good thing for basketball, but it was, I would just have to I had to slow. One of my teachers, bless her, she was Miss Sandlin. She was great. She would pull me aside all the time and she was getting me ready for life after high school. And she passed away a few years ago. But me and her, I've got some beautiful letters that we wrote to each other. I thanked her so much. I mean, she called me out one day.
Uh-oh.
So
He's back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
So,
hear me?
Wendy, were you a skinny kid?
No, oh no, I was not a skinny kid. I mean, I'm built the way I am now, so I don't know. Am I skinny? I was never like you see some bean poles around here. I was 5'10" by the time I was 13. So like, I was never a bean pole.
Yes.
I was always strong.
Listen to Wendy.
Well,
to the beanpole days in the magazine.
but you know what I
You
am?
ain't it, Miss Thing.
Oh heck no! The fact that I can be on here and say that right now. No, I can go into a gym and I will go and call out and go, gentle giant, gentle giant, gentle giant. I want them all to come to me and I want to teach them what I did not know coming all the way through. You guys both have your aggression and that edge that helped you. I did not have that. I did not have that. The reason I ended up playing volleyball because I wasn't aggressive enough to play basketball. I did for a while, didn't like it. And then I ended up in the swimming pool because no one's going to touch me and I'm just going to swim fast. So, you're led into certain sports based on your personality. And volleyball and swimming are not aggressive people sports. And I'm a competitor, but I've had to learn to be aggressive. That's,
It does help. I mean, in a sense, I think it does, and that competitive nature. But but look at you. But the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, huh, Jason? Look at.
I was a fat kid.
I mean, Luke. Yeah.
Luke.
You were a little chubby kid.
I was Well, I grew up really, really skinny, but then when puberty happened and that appetite happened and the abuse I suffered made me take out my aggression in some food. So by the time I was ready to join the Army, I was like 240. And then out of boot camp, I graduated boot camp 199, and I looked skinny as fuck too, because I wasn't, Shawn, you know about body mass index, you know about bone structure and all that stuff. So I was like, I was a skinny 199, and then when I got out, I blew up to 265 pounds, and on my last podcast, I don't know if you know, I had the steak guy, I had the meat doctor, and he was, and I told him the story. I was 265, and I took a year and I lost 65 pounds.
Wow.
If you want, I'll tell it again. I had a scare on a train station.
Oh yeah.
And Wendy will appreciate this too.
This is the story.
So I'm on the train station, right? And Shawn, there's kind of like this guy that kind of looks like me, right? And same hair, little Jew froze, got my nose, little yellow complexion, the whole Simpsons thing and shit. So he weighs about 350. Right? So if you've been on the New York subway, right, you know how like they have the little two-seaters on the end? Like where two people could fit?
Yeah.
But for him it was just him.
Yeah.
Just the guy. Right?
Yeah.
So he breaks out a 20-piece, right? He breaks out some big ass French fries and this and that. And he's looking for a place to put it. Right? Doesn't know where to put it. I'm gonna use my phone. Doesn't know a place to put it. Looks at his stomach. Puts it on his stomach.
Oh my
Starts
God.
eating chicken McNuggets off his stomach. And I looked at that dude like this.
Yeah.
Yo, something got to change. Something had to change, man. So I took on a trainer and I lost 60. I took a year. I lost 65 pounds net weight.
Yes.
I got to 200 even. And when you met me, Shawn, when you met me in 2016, that was like my playing weight. I actually played in the qualifier that year in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, that's right.
I got down to 200 even. And did I look fat? No, I looked skinny.
Yeah.
So,
No, not at all.
So
I think you didn't. You
But
were wearing
Shawn,
tank tops every day.
yeah, but Shawn, I know, right? Not anymore. But the quarantine 15, boy. But I'm on the steak diet though. Tell you what, I just lost 7 pounds in 7 days. I'm on carnivore diet right now, just meat only. I'm on a meat only diet.
Look, that's I've got a couple of pounds. Look, I stay at the weight I compete at 220, 222 is what we got to compete, but we have to weigh in with our gi on.
Right.
So
those are heavy.
Is it same day?
Oh,
is it same day weigh in?
It is. Oh no, Jason, I got to weigh in before. So we've got brackets of like I can't, like some tournaments you can weigh in the morning. That's perfect for me. I'll go in there, I'll get down to my underwear and weigh in at 219, and I'm golden.
Everybody's happy.
Over here. That's why, like now I'm about to get off of creatine, just take glutamine by itself, supplementations.
Right.
Supplements are going to switch, but no rice, no breads, no this, no that. I'm 223, 224 now, but I got to get down to like 220. 215, 216 is that safe spot. 218 is pushing it. And like when I went into Anaheim, this is why I was kind of like, When I got there, I had to go straight to the hotel, and I had to like drink my athletic greens and just do things like that. I had to go. I was weighing in nonstop, and when I went the morning before, the day before, I was actually heavy. I was like
Oh,
219, 220. It's like, oh
Your
my
body's
gosh.
crazy like that, dude.
So that's
It's
right. And
crazy
so
like that, man.
I woke up that morning and I went downstairs to the hotel we were staying at, and there were like 15, 20 other competitors and fighters. Dude, everybody's taking off clothes, going to this scale in our underwear, and like we're all looking at each other. Everybody's like making weight. I got down to 218, so I felt comfortable. But and I was trying to get to that 215 spot. But when I weighed in, and I've got a special gi that I wear, but when I weighed in, I was 221.2.
oh,
222, and an ounce over 222 is disqualification automatically.
Yeah.
So with my height, it makes it like,
yeah.
for me, it's good. But you got to think these guys. I'm like the one guy from where was he from? He was from like Juarez. One of the guys from Mexico that I competed against. That dude was like 6 foot, but he just
He was
bulky.
wide.
Thick. Yeah.
So he was thick and strong. Like,
Yeah.
when I grabbed him, he wasn't like some other competitors. Like, he's from Tijuana. So like
Right.
when I grabbed him, it was just like, good God, this boy, he likes his tortillas. And so I just had to go to another game plan. I pulled guard, brought him down, and then actually we had 3 minutes of just nonstop grips and stuff like that. But like I said, I actually was able to sweep him, get my 2 points, and then I started working the mats pretty good. And but yeah, it's the weigh-in thing is a big deal, and it's
Yeah.
actually that plays a lot. It's a mental thing.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too.
But
But now my
you
diet's
keeping it in check where you're like you're
I
not
I
up
do,
a lot
yeah.
up and a lot down. I mean, that's so much better for
No.
your body overall.
And
like
and no, I don't think I'll ever. I've been 220 since I've been 25 at
Yeah.
least. I mean, I got a little heavy before. At one point in time, no basketball, no nothing. I was shooting for that 240, 245 weight, but I was still ripped. I was
Yeah.
still muscular
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I just got too heavy, and I was like, you know what? I can't really do anything with this. It's just
Yeah.
walking around, and none of my pants fit because my
Yeah.
thigh, so I didn't even. I kind of just went back to what I was doing, and I lost it pretty quickly. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
just got down to that 220 range, so I always stayed around that. So that's a blessing for me. Like,
Right.
my professor, he's a world champion. Like I told you,
Yeah.
he had to drop down like 60 pounds
Yeah, see, I
for
don't
the
see how
competition.
at our age that is not an easy thing to do, and nor is it.
No,
It's not sustainable. I mean, what you're doing,
no.
like you've got these daily habits, which if you're going to talk to younger athletes, the little things that you do and keeping
Yeah.
up with them, and then over time building them, because then once they become just part of your autopilot, you can add something
Yeah.
else, right? So. Like, you're such a great example of longevity of an athlete, because you
Yeah.
really do
Yeah.
have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, you do.
I mean, Sean,
You do.
right now I'm 213, but during this quarantine thing, I got to like 221. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm trying out just this carnivore thing just
Yeah.
for the next 3 weeks. And because I don't have all the other added stuff that I used to eat with the pasta and all that stuff, like, which I'm still okay with,
Yeah.
7 pounds, 7 days. My normal
Yeah.
playing weight is 200 to 205. That's when you see
Yeah.
me look normal and look like I'm in shape. 200 to 205. That's
Yeah.
I can jump. I got muscle. A girl
Yeah, I
will
was gonna say,
bump
it's a
into me and
strong-
knock
it's a
me
strong
down.
200.
Yeah,
Yes.
dude. Because
Yeah.
I got to
Yeah, you
185 when I dropped the weight, Sean. I got to 185, and I was at the
Uh-huh.
Pottstown Rumble, right? And there was this girl who was like 6'3". And she ran into me just to give me like a friendly bump, and I fucking fell. I fell to the ground.
Lightweight,
That's not your
lightweight.
fighting weight.
Yeah, I'm
No,
like, dude, no, I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, I gotta
no.
learn how to.
Some people. So yeah, so I've been able to sustain that. So it's easy for me, and as a competitor sense, because we do have some other teammates. They don't go down as drastic as Professor Rafael,
Yeah.
but I mean, like I said, he's a world champion. I mean, he's been there, done it all. So I've got that in my corner.
Well-
The teachers, the professors that I've got. That's the thing about this jiu-jitsu is a little different than volleyball. It's organized coaching, and I mean, we Gracie United is the name
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
gym that I
Yeah.
compete for, and we're called Jucal. It's
Right.
Professor Jucal. He's in New York actually, Jay. I'm probably going to come up there sometime this
Yeah,
year.
man.
That's where he's in New York right now.
Yeah, Henzo.
His story is.
Henzo
Yeah.
is up there, right? Henzo.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly. So he was affiliated with all the Gracies and everything. So, I mean, but he came here to the States, and he's got his family, and he has New York gyms, Miami gyms, and of course, Professor Rafael's got all the gyms in Louisiana, Mississippi, this Southeast area. And, but, you know, just like I did a interview with VSN, Varsity Sports Network, Eric Ritchie's group just recently, and it was an awesome interview. And he's basically, it's called The Road to Rome. So they've been watching, keeping tabs on me as I'm, you know, preparing to go to Rome. And they kind of talked about why did I start? Well, I started because of Soren, you know, so he's my why. And it's just like whenever I used to coach Seth with volleyball or Stella, they were like, oh, you know, it's not that I didn't love volleyball or love being there, but that's one reason I kept playing so long, Jay, is because I wanted to play with Seth. Yeah. You know, whether it was I really wanted to play in a AVP qualifier with him if I could, but he's maturing a lot. I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll get on the courts if he starts to play again. But he football his senior year, he wanted to go back and start playing. You know, you can't.
No, you never get that back. No, and you're such
no, that's what I told him. That's exactly.
Yeah,
what I told
and that's another great parenting thing that I've seen with you too. Is like, you know, as strong as you are, you also allow your kids to just be who they are, and they've had that example from you, and you can see it in all three of them.
We have to, guys. Shawn, we have to find ways to break the wheel.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, like the abuse wheel.
Yeah.
We have to
break the cycle. Break the cycle.
It is. It's Jay. You know what it really is, and this is where my wife has come in, and I think she's shown me, she's loved me, and she's shown me love like nobody else has. Yeah. My grandmother Rome, she's always been. She's the one woman growing up that I said she had never forsaken me and let me down. Me and my mom have got into it. I mean, that's just parents, and you know, like I said, she raised 3 boys, and she did a hell of a job with what she was given. She made rock soup, basically. You know what I mean? Yeah. There were times whenever we had to get food donated to us. I mean, during Christmases, I mean, you know, the police department and them would come by and give us gifts because we didn't have presents. And that's the kind of life it was we had for a couple of years. It wasn't all the time growing up, but you know, that's a blessing. But through like my 5th to 6th grade year to like my 9th, 10th grade year until I went to that school, that's what it was like. Right. And so that's a pivotal age for a male. Yeah. You know, it kept me on the streets a little bit. It kept me outside the house, which was good, but it also kept me on the courts because growing up in Baker, that's the one thing I could do. I could go to one of these courts, play basketball. Everybody knew me, and I'd play there. I'd go play at different courts down the city from sun up till sundown. Yeah. So, you know, that was a blessing in itself. But yeah, but with my kids, the main thing was I'm spending extra quality time with them, and that's another thing. And I'm not pushing them to do it. But Jay, what we're doing is breaking generational curses. Yeah. I've had to talk. I've had real life conversations with this. It's crazy when I found out about like drug use or other, you know, alcohol abuse and other things in my family, and I was like, wow. And then I start to meet. When I met my dad's real family, what's crazy is like I'm talking. They had a whole family reunion for me. When I walked in the room, I always thought I looked like my mom, which I think I do. But like when I started to talk and my mannerisms, all of his cousins and all of my family members, there's like 60 of them. They're like, oh my, I mean, some people started crying. They were like, wow. You're your dad. And I'm like, you know, and I didn't know him in that sense. I was like, tell me more. You know, I got Aunt Janice and all these people giving me gifts that my dad had given them. So I got to know my real father, you know, my biological father in a sense. And, and so, but he had some stuff with him too, you know, that I learned. And it's crazy that these family members tell me, and I was like, look, you got to tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the reason I'm asking you this is because I've got demons. I've got things that, where do they come from? What do they do? Sure enough. And so I had to make a conscious effort to do this. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to break these. And it's rough. It's rough, especially when you tell your family about it, because they think half-assed. They're like, well, that's normal stuff.
Yeah. Then you become the black sheep, right? Because you're doing things differently. Oh, yeah. And
And so like, it's what we talked about. It's everything's, to me, I learned, this is what really helped me, Jay. And this is, you know, me and my dad didn't talk from 2018 to about 2020. Good thing he got sick. We thought he had COVID for a second, but he went to the hospital, and I started to catch up with him, and we had a talk. I mean, you know, he'd gone so far one time, he's like, you're not my son. So, you know, don't contact me and all that stuff. And I was like, man, that's rough. But what I had to do is, it took years to realize I had to look at what he had been through, how he was raised, and who he was raised by. And then once I started to learn his background story, which was some things that I didn't know, it's like I matured in a sense, and I was like, that's why he was the way he was. That's why he did the things he did. Yeah. Now, you can't make that as an excuse for everything, especially if you know better.
Yeah.
But I started to have, you know what it was? I had empathy. I felt sorry for him. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
as I started to talk to him in these later, like before he passed away. Me and
Okay.
him actually, we made up. We made up, which was great. I'm glad
Good.
that we
That's
did.
huge.
The
Yeah.
2021 in January, he called me. I still got the last voice message from him, but we talked, and I asked him how he was doing. I was like, I'm worried about you. You better health. He died of poor health. That's the thing. He had heart issues, liver issues. He drank heavily after he retired, and he was a gym. He went to the gym all the time in his earlier years. So, but
Yeah.
he just kind of let it slide. But but we did make up. I was able to talk with him. I told him, loved him. I said, look, you did a lot of good things. I said, this is the thing. I said, that you did some things. And he admitted to some of them. Some of them he's like, what? I didn't know. I was like, it's okay. You don't have to ever admit anything. Or
Man,
you don't have to
stop.
tell me you're
Yeah.
sorry. I said, you did things that were good, and they were your good traits. So you did that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a hard worker. So I saw that growing up, and I knew that he grinded. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
was he was up.
It's a
He's one of
great-
those guys. I'm up at. Yeah.
Yeah. The
So you
example
see
of
that.
that is huge. Absolutely.
But
It
yeah,
is.
I think
Yeah.
when you look at things like that retrospectively, and you're able to allow, well, first of all, you still had access to them where you can come back
Yes.
and have these conversations. And
That was huge. That was
Yeah.
huge. Those two conversations we had between January and June and his birthday. I'm glad. People don't get that opportunity.
No.
And I got it. And I'm like, and then whenever my aunt called me and she's like, he called, his phone aunt called me at 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh, it's Dad. I said, hey, what's up? And she was like, oh no, it's me. She told me he passed away in the night. And I was just like in shock. I'm like, and he had just got in touch with me. He wanted me to look up a friend of his, and I was looking for her, and I actually found her, and she had contacted me, and I talked with her, but he really wanted to reconnect with her. This woman that, whenever he was in Florida, it was a girlfriend of his, and we loved her like she was like a stepmom. But I told her, I called her and told her that he was looking for her, and that he had passed away. So she was, but it was good that I was able to, tell him some of the way I felt, like, hey, we got into it because of this.
Yeah.
And he understood that. I was like, look, I said, I don't like the way that you did certain things. And it was as far as he goes, it was a good enough apology.
it was a man-to-man
You just
talk.
take it forward. Yeah. And so we've had them before, but they always ended up on the wrong side. So, it's one of these, we're butting heads, and I'm saying this and he's saying that, but
Yeah. Well,
but that was a relief off of me, that I was able to
Absolutely.
talk with him
Yeah.
about that stuff and
Well-
tell him, hey, I forgive you. Like, I forgive you. Like, I had a big post about it. I was like, I forgive you for what you've done. And it's, and what you did to me, or what you did to anybody, or what anybody's done to me, isn't going to delegate what I do in the future. Because I used to live like that as a little kid. I felt like it was poor, pitiful me, because I didn't have any, you know what I mean? And so I used to just, that's the thing, Jay. I think that's why hate stays so long, because you have it, and it's yours. And of course it's deep seated. It grows, or it matures, but it's yours, and you try to hold on to it because it's a comfort zone with that hate and with that emotion and with that feeling.
It's comfort zone's an interesting word. I would go more with character armor. It's it's something
you're right.
you did when you're a kid, all right, from a toddler to a kid to a teenager to a young adult to an adult. Anything that interrupts something we perceive as normal psychological growth. We as kids, and I learned this in acting class, Shawn. We build something called character armor, and a character armor is something that allows you to cope with, or that you think allows you to cope with these things. And it's weird, because the thing you choose as character armor to cope with it can make you go another way. And two things. One, I'm glad that the way you chose that allow you to break the wheel is very, very fortunate. Yeah. And two, I'm glad your father wasn't still mentally ill at a heightened level where you were able to broker that man-to-man conversation. Like my mom's mentally ill. She's at this place, You know, I'd like to reach you, but you're much too high. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. Well,
So,
I had that. I had that before that time. That had
mhm.
happened. He'd called me a few times, and you could tell he was either drinking or he was doing some stuff. And I'd look at the phone and I'd listen to the voicemail, and I
Yeah.
knew some. You know what I started to do? I didn't even listen to the voicemails. I would send it straight to Angelique. I'd say, "Is it worth
Yeah.
my time?" Because this is what I've learned, and this goes, I think, back to about 2 years ago, and this is what's happened, is I started to realize that we're energy in a sense, and we've only got so much energy throughout the 24 hours that we're given. You can invest and give your energy to things that aren't going to grow and produce and flourish, or you can put your energy towards the things that are going to make a difference, going to grow, going to mature, going to make whoever you're giving it to a better person. Because some people, look, me and Wendy have talked about this numerous times. Energy vampires are a real thing,
Amen.
to the point to where
Yeah.
I've wanted to second guess some of the stuff I've done. And what happens is I'm in this slump. And look, when the volleyball thing was going on, I asked myself, I was like, what are you doing? Because I had family members ask me that.
Yeah.
Like, Shawn, you're like 40 years old and you want to go play. I was like, well, number one, I can financially do it.
Yeah.
So I'm a grown man. I'm a grown ass man. So
Hello.
what's the
Yep.
deal?
What's it to you?
Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. What's
Yeah,
it
what's
to
it to
you?
you? And so, but they're just like, well, it's not normal. I was like, well, number one, what the hell is normal? Number one, it's something that I love. It keeps me, number one, in great shape. Number two, it keeps me out of a bar. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to go, run around and do all this crazy stuff. And it gives me time with my family, is the way I looked at it. But I said, but I love it. I love it because whenever I was on the court when I first started, it took I didn't think about the things that I didn't want to think. I think, with not having time with Seth and Stella, that's what kept me from really going crazy, is
Yeah.
getting to play volleyball. So when I got on the court, no matter who it was with, everything else disappeared, right? And we all know how that happens.
Yeah,
I mean, how that goes. It's just
absolutely.
it's our release.
Yeah.
It's our safe place. It's and I can't wait to start playing back again. It's just right now, like I said, I'm on this.
Well, you're on
this
a mission, but
one,
you're still on that
yeah.
mission of making your body and your brain connect and feel good.
Yes.
And that you pay that
Yes.
out to everybody around you. And that's
Yeah. And so
yeah.
it's huge. I think it's huge. And I mean, I've like, look, even one of my business partners, he started like getting into like better shape and stuff. And he started going to the gym and he's like, well, what are all these supplements you take? And at first he used to like pick with me. I like, look, I was like, Herb, yeah, you're a lot older than me. I said, you can benefit from some of this. He started taking some of the supplements, like athletic greens and some of the digestive stuff. And he's like, oh my God, no heartburn. I feel better. I've lost this weight. I was like,
Yeah.
yes. I was
Yeah.
like, it's, it keeps you feeling better. If you feel better, you're going to do better. You're going to produce better. You're going to be in a better state of mind. And people don't understand that, especially with a lot of gut health. I'm a
Yeah.
big proponent on that.
Amen.
It's huge
That's
because
your other-
everything,
Yeah, that's your other nervous system.
It's your core, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it
that's
is,
the
it is.
enteric
And
nervous
so-
system, and it is making
Yes.
you the way you take in the world.
Yeah.
yes,
is-
Cortisol is
time.
also a real thing too.
Oh, for
The
sure.
build up,
It is.
the build
Yeah.
up or whatever.
Big time.
I mean, I
And
used
that's
to
another
watch all
thing.
those belly fat commercials.
Uh-huh.
Remember? And it was mainly about women. Women, do you have a problem with belly fat? And she said belly fat with
Like
this.
this venom.
With
yeah.
contempt, with like belly. Do you have belly
Ridiculous,
fat?
yeah.
Well, if you have belly fat, it was the exact same fucking way. And yeah, Sean's on to something. That's a real thing,
mean-
dude. And
Well,
talk to me more
yeah.
about the vampire thing.
Oh yeah.
So,
But
and
just
how you
I mean,
overcome the vampire thing.
I mean, look, there was a point in time when I'm sitting on the edge of the bed. I mean, of course, I got lots of negative energy with the volleyball thing. Number one, first I did good. I mean, I was doing well locally, and then I played with some good players and other partners, and then I started to play with a younger player that was smaller. And of course, this is crazy because I went from either winning or getting to the finals in most of the tournaments I played into. Went with this other guy, and we didn't win a whole game for like 5 tournaments. But he was the first person that I really got to coach with. But I had to learn from that situation, and him and I actually ended up doing really well at the end, and we had fun, and that was a good thing. But I learned that being around like the energy stuff, like being around negative energy or giving your energy to people that really don't care if they get it or not, good or bad, you got to walk away from it.
Well, and I mean, it's the vibrational energy that you and I have talked about.
Yeah.
Like you get
Yes.
around Shawn, you sense when you come around somebody else that's lifting other people up.
Yeah.
Like you're
Correct.
vibrating at that higher frequency that's like with gratitude and love and you know, when you're down here in shame and fear and all of that place, which
First, second, and third chakra.
yeah, you're not.
Yeah.
Fear, shame, and guilt. That's first, second, and third, right there.
And think about that. Your root. So when your root is down there, like you're not going to be able to produce doing the things that all three of us have come through stuff and learned how to climb that hierarchy.
What was the restaurant we went to in New York or New Jersey at the hotel?
New Jersey?
Oh, no.
Was it Carmine's?
Carmine's.
We went to Carmine's.
Yes.
Well, we went to a bunch of different restaurants, but Carmine's when we had I think we must have
Steak
stayed
dinner.
there for 2 or 3 hours.
We went vegan just for Kenny.
Right.
Oh, that one.
Right? We had vegan pasta, which, by the way, was awesome.
Yes, that's right.
I was thinking of the steak place, though.
No, the steak place
The
after that
steak
was
place.
awesome.
The
The
steak place was awesome.
The palm.
The palm.
The palms, but we went. That's right. With Kenny, we went to get that pasta with that big feed me thing, and I walked in, and there was like a trough on the table with like pasta here and salad here, and that was good stuff.
But the reason why I even brought it up is because I can take that moment at Carmine's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you watch people who are in the tournament walk by us. From like the people who were in the qualifier rounds, all the way to Theo and Kane walked by. They said hi, gave me a pound, all the way up to Jeff Conover, who was there just to see what all the hubbub was about because he heard a lot of good things about Coconut Beach and wound up coming to Atlantic City. Yeah, it was one of those things where everybody that walked past us envied us on a different level because of the fellowship. The big smile on our face, not worrying about who's hanging out with who, not where the four of us, because Kenny completes that, right? Kenny completes that. So the four of us sitting at that table, like anyone can come sit with us. It could be President Obama, it could be Jeff Conover, it could be Torrin Jeffries. Was one of the most liberating feelings in the world, and I'm only bringing it up because I realize it at the moment. It's not something I'm looking back retrospectively and saying that's cool, which is cool because I'm still doing that too, right? But I was realizing at that moment. I looked at Shawn, I looked at Wendy, and I looked at Kenny, and we got vegan pasta in front of us, and. And I asked myself, with respect to my gorgeous, beautiful, educated, hot, sexy wife. See that picture behind me? Well, look at that. Didn't it look like Kelly Larson? Didn't it look like Kelly Kalinske behind us? Look at the picture, Wendy. You pull it up.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, pull it up. Just pull it. It's not on the frame, so you could just pull it out.
Gotcha. Where am I going?
Just show it to Shawn. Shawn, that's. Sorry, I'm
I don't know which
let me do
cameras got shown.
That looked like Kelly.
There you go.
Doesn't that look like Kelly Kalinske?
Yes, indeed.
That's Kelly Campbell. No, but I think the point I was trying to make was
Rockstar.
Is there any place in the world I'd rather be than there? There was, and the answer was absolutely not. There was no place in New Jersey, no less, right? There was no place. There was no place in the world at that time, in that place with those people that I would rather be. And if anyone ever asked me about Wendy and asked me about you or whatever, it'd be a boring story, but that would be exactly what I would use to describe your character, your demeanor, your compassion, your empathy, and all of these virtuous things that people don't really talk about, but they grasp and want in such a bad way.
The world wants to tell a certain story about women and men. And I will sit here today and say that people get brought into your life for a reason. I believe that it's all connected. Shawn, you and I, we've said that a million times. And people want to tell a certain story. But the thing is, you guys have been brought into my life to show me that there are good men out there that come through really tough things, that rise up and respect women and are all about being strong on their own and allowing that female to be strong on her own. And coming together and creating a relationship that is
and what better men than Shawn Ledig? Kenny, and Kenny, three different personalities, right?
And people will say, "You're going where? You're going where for how long with who?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's great time." It's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Shawn, can I tell you a really quick funny story about Kenny? What the kind of guy Kenny was and how he's matured since he had a kid. We're at BBQ, right? And we just came from a game. Our volleyball sponsors with us, and there's like 8 of us indoor. And we were talking about relationships, and I'm like, Kenny, will you tell everybody at this table the single most important thing men are supposed to remember at this relationship, right? So there are 2 tables full of women, right? And now they're leaning in, right? And there's one guy at the table surrounded by women or whatever, and Kenny goes, head ain't cheating.
Oh my God.
And the girls at the table just go, oh my God, come on. And the one guy at the table who is like alone, surrounded by all those women goes, you know, so no, but that was the kind of guy Kenny was, that it wasn't offensive to women because of how he said it. He didn't mean it, you know. It's just, but it was one of those things that made women go, "Oh, come on!" But it was playful.
He is a character,
and he's even had that virtue before he had a kid. So that was just a cool story I wanted to share about Kenny.
Yeah,
he said, "Head ain't cheating."
He is something else, man. You know what? We should have taken him to karaoke with us. Next time, no matter where, whatever city we're in, we got to go. We got to hit up the, you know. Well, look, Louisiana Beach Week is going to be coming back to Louisiana for sure,
man.
and then
we'll talk more about that off camera. Right?
And there's gonna be an AEP event that's a bigger event that they're working on to get back down. So we, you know, hopefully when their schedule comes out, I think that it'll be a good thing. Yeah. There'll be the few more tournaments from what I've been talking. I've been talking with AVP and AVP America, which some of it we can't really discuss now. But
no, but they're trying to do 10 stops, right?
Yeah, they're trying to bump it up. They're trying to make different tiered stops, and I mean, good. Oh, listen,
the tiered stops
good
are awesome.
Yes, so everything that they've talked about and everything that we've gone over, usually we get in touch with each other. I get to talk with them at least once every 2 weeks with Jeff and Wayne and everybody else, and they're coming around, and the stuff they're saying it's stuff that people have been saying, but basically now I think after the last year, because you know after COVID finished up, I mean it was a strong season.
Yeah,
people regardless, but anyway, I mean it because everybody was so anxious to get out and start doing things again, that it made the season what it was, and I think that gave them ground and traction to keep moving forward, and they're going to do it. And so with Bally's picking everything up, which we knew about. That it was good. It was good to see that happen, because I think they've got the financial part of everything locked up, and let's hope that these next years are what we've all expected from the pro AVP and every NBL, and hopefully, listen, I'm hoping that the FIVB, whatever I don't know if they changed their name, but hopefully they at least put some stops on U.S. soil. I mean, come on, man, they should at least do 2. I mean.
Well, there's a whole bunch of the reasoning that even I'd love to talk off camera about that, and it's weird for someone like me who doesn't have a filter, that's not willing to talk about it on camera. It would sell out too many people. But we definitely want to have that conversation. We definitely want to have that conversation over some steak, okay?
Once we can do that, and once everything's solidified, and I know they've got some changes that were made in the past week or two that's what was brought to my attention. So once all those changes are refined and everything in the schedule is concrete, we're definitely going to have a call together and discuss, because we definitely got to make some travel plans, because I'm after Rome. I might make it to the Pans, and I think that's going to be. And I may not make it to Pans. I mean, I'm sitting on that number 1 spot. I may just take some time off, and just kind of work, heal the body up, transition over a little bit, and then start competing again. But in this summertime,
Wendy, what do you expect from the tour this year? With Bally's joining them and handling a lot of the bells and whistles, what's one thing you expect from them? As far as
I'm hoping better.
It's mild. Doesn't even have to be significant improvement. Mild improvement.
I mean, the fans were starting to come, so I'm hoping that just we're breaking out of this COVID thing. Yeah. And they put some good marketing behind it, because the volleyball world is so connected that everyone's everyone's chomping at the bit for the schedule to come out. So I think they put some good marketing, get some money in it for these players.
Do you know what
I want to see these guys be able to do this for a living, so that we can keep watching this.
Shawn, Shawn, do you know what I want to see?
What's that?
Now the Bally's has handled like a lot of the bells and whistles, and there are these opportunities where but more butts are going to be in seats, and because of the live streaming platform, more eyes are going to be on them.
Right.
Yes.
I want to. Dana White once said, "Remember the Ultimate? You ever used to watch Ultimate Fighter, like that first one where this guy didn't want to fight, this one wanted to go home, and Dana was losing his mind because they were in the red, right?
Yep.
UFC was in the red, and he goes into that house and says, "Do you want to be an Ultimate Fighter?" So I pose that question to the volleyball people: do you want to be a volleyball player? If I go by a court on Huntington Beach, Shawn, and I watched 6 plays, and I watched both teams doing a feeling out process, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk the fuck away. Yeah. You know why? Those teams played each other. They're scrimmaging each other probably tomorrow morning. They certainly were this morning. I don't want to see this feeling out process of going through the motions. Going through the motions is not a bad thing when you're in practice. Going through the motions when you're trying to try something technically different or whatever.
Yes.
I want, and I'm not saying you even have to yell at anybody. Like Buttinger, Phil, like Karch back in the day, those guys let their play do the talking. So my question is, now that you're running more. How are you running out of excuses? Do you want to be a volleyball player? Because if I think that and I don't want to watch the game, I can't imagine like someone who walks by Huntington who's never seen the game, and they're like, let me stop and watch a couple of plays. This looks interesting. Anybody that's played or seen any other sport knows the feeling out process when you know when you see it. So I'm not talking about volleyball credentials and what people know about volleyball. It has to be interesting. So that's what I demand. That's what I demand. I don't even think, Shawn, at this point, for commentating, because of you putting yourself out there for me and giving me those opportunities. I thought Coconut Beach was a smash. I thought that was an A+ thing for me. And whatever, what was it? Jersey, right? Atlantic City. Atlantic City was kind of. Atlantic City is still kind of. It's kind of a B performance.
You're hard on yourself about that one. I'm
not hard on myself. I'm not hard on myself that it was still good to wax Hohenheim. I mean, in center court. So no disrespect to her. Still better. I mean, you watch MMA, Shawn, right? Yeah. Remember Anderson Silva against Chael Sonnen? Mm-hmm. They said, Chael, how do you feel today? He's like, I'm exhausted, I'm hurt, I'm sore, and I'm still good enough to whoop this guy's ass. That's how I feel. But the thing I like about the AVP, to Jeff Conover, to Josh Glazebrook, they come up to me in Atlantic City and they started talking about my military service. They started talking about my Division I and Division III experience. They started talking about prison ministry, stuff that you have to, Shawn, you have to look for. You have to look for. Even if they say no, I'm good. Yeah, I was recognized and I was respected for my work because the three of us know I'm not. I don't mean to make this about me, but I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So, and the reason why I brought this in, I even brought this up, was because it was supposed to be a full question circle, Kanye West style. Talk about myself and then make it about you. What do you expect from the tour that you saw, not necessarily significant improvement, but something you saw last year that you're like, I want a little bit more of that?
Well, the number of stops. I want more stops because that not only is that good for the players, it's also good for the fans because it's not fun whenever the Texas group they got a large following or these players they don't get a stop in their area, and it was hard to travel last year, so that limits them on what they can do. Have a good 8 to 10 stop season. Now look, this is the thing about the tier system. They don't all have to be the $170,000, $200,000 stops. They can be the $75,000, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000.
Yeah, that energy that you brought at Coconut. That's right. That same energy.
What was tournament of the year?
Coconut Beach. For me, it was Coconut Beach.
That was a group. That was a group effort. That's something that we had worked on that I had wanted to bring since 2018. That's why I started even promoting volleyball tournaments for AVP America with Carly and them. When she got in touch with me, I was like, this is something I'm gearing for. There's a thing that I want to have, and I want it to be a beach week. And you saw they got to do that that format in other places. Right. So that's going to continue, which is a good thing.
It was a tour atmosphere. It was a tour style atmosphere.
Yeah, and everybody was so ready to. Everybody was so ready to get out that it was the perfect storm, guys. That's exactly what happened. Rob and Mick, they helped me out a lot. I mean, Rob was really integral in what he did, and he was with me too. I mean, me and him were on the phone all the time talking about stuff. And Nick was there too. Got to give him credit where credit's due. But I mean, that was something that we were, and it was better than I expected. And that's a good thing. But like, I just I hope we have more stops like that next year.
I would agree.
And then with the players, I want to see, the one thing I want to see, and I think that's like, I love, like, you know what? I like Trevor. I hope, I want to see him and try. I want to see that kind of intensity out of more players.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
They're good
and
for the
like
sport, dude.
That's right. And I want to see guys that they're bringing it to each other, not just in the finals. I mean, bring it, after Friday. I'll bring it.
And didn't we see that at Coconut Beach?
That's right. Oh man, listen, that Dentler match and all those other matches, a few matches before that, they were ridiculous.
Yeah. Dentler and Ferrari against.
Yes.
Oh
Evan
my God, Corey
Logan.
and Logan. That semifinals was probably better than the finals.
Yes.
And look, didn't the finals deliver too? I mean, Peter had a bad wheel, and he's still trying to jump serve. He had a bad Rafa Rodriguez.
He looked to the naked eye, and we talked about this. Nobody knows that he's even in pain because of the way he played.
Yeah.
But me and you, like when I pointed out to people, we're sitting there on the center court, the side of the court. His calf is locked up the entire match. His legs are, and I'm like, man, look at this. I can't even believe he's moving like this. But that just shows you right there what type of he's a warrior.
Yeah,
it's what it is. I mean, that's like the other day, like in that tournament. I'm going over, and I'm coming back from an injury, but I ripped my rib cartilage in the finals of my tournament.
Yeah.
Ooh,
well, I got into the absolute division. If you win gold, you get to go in the absolute division, and there's no weight division to it, so everybody's lumped in. So and I actually won. I got to the semis, won that. I lost in the finals, but I had to tap out. I couldn't. But that's just. I think that's certain players and certain people. Like I was, the nurse was like, I had a black eye at that tournament. They're like draining my eye, a ribs ball, popping it out. And I was like, no, let's get it. So I think that sometimes that's just athletes, you know, if you can push it. I mean, I think so. I think that's the better way to do it. And, look at Larissa, man, she had cramps so bad because of the humidity that she actually they had to forfeit a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that did prepare them for Chicago, right? Qualifier the draw to the finals. Yeah, man.
That's right. So they lived and learned off of that experience. So it was good. It was good stuff. But guys, I mean, that's what I hope to see. But I know this is the thing, talking to Wayne and Carly and Tony, like, Chase Frischman is going to come to Coconut, I think next month. I'll be in Rome. I'll be in Italy for a week, and I got some other Mardi Gras next month. So it's going to be a crazy month anyway. But Chase is going to come into Louisiana, and I'm going to try to get him in with one of the nonprofits. He's going to do a free clinic at Coconut Beach for the underserved population in New Orleans, and I'm going to try to get something out on that, guys. But Tony and them had hit me up and talked to me about it. But they're ready. They're ready for the season for the start, and I think that it's going to be a good one. I feel that it's going to be a good one with everything that they're putting into it. So.
Yeah.
Hey people, this is the AVP
check out this
bringing you guys up to speed. The number one.
Sorry, it's gonna clear up in a minute. But look at the scene.
Yeah.
Look at the, oh my God, sorry, this is bad. Now look at the camera work, look at the background, look at the atmosphere. Doesn't that look like Atlanta? Doesn't that look like Chicago? Doesn't that look like Manhattan Beach?
Look at that. I mean,
yeah,
it's awesome. I mean, VSN, like I said, Eric Ritchie and his group, and hopefully they're going to be doing a lot more of that with volleyball. I mean, they do a lot of sports, Louisiana.
Here it is. Here's the last play of the game.
Yeah, this was.
Watch this.
Look at it.
Look at that.
I mean, he's moving around and he's cramping out. I mean, his legs are cramped and he's moving around.
Look at the camera work. This is something like FIVB. I need permission. Sorry,
it's high level.
I need permission from what's his name to air that, because that's on an unlisted link.
Eric.
But I want to get Eric's permission.
I talked to Eric this morning, and I'll talk with him. I'll probably got to give him a call tomorrow morning, because he's got some interesting stuff that he's been, working on. And
I video captured that finals for my own files for reference.
Yeah.
But I think it's time. It's a year old. I want permission from Eric to share that, because I have a lot of friends who are FIVB. Like, my subscriber list is picked up. Right now, Shawn, I think I'm the most viewed. I have the highest viewed of YouTube video. It's 3.4 million.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My most.
For which one?
Yeah, the podcast. Let me tell you something. The
Yeah.
podcast, YouTube don't like my podcast, but iTunes, Spotify, Facebook, they like it. But as far as like me, turning it, Shawn, like turning a camera on, and like just calling the match behind the camera. My most viewed video is 3.4 million.
That's amazing.
I don't think anyone's.
That's
I don't think
amazing.
anyone's even close. Not even
That is
the
amazing.
AVP, not the FIVB.
Yeah, no, not even close. And just no way. So this is the
It's Fallon for number one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
It's Fallon for number one. I'll just admit it.
Yeah.
It's Fallon for number one.
Well, there you go.
She's awesome.
But it's going to be a good season. I mean, everything that's going to fall into place. Like I said, I'm gearing up to go to Rome, so I'll be out of the country for almost 2 weeks.
It's going to be fun.
And then what's funny is I'm coming right in from Rome. I'm just, my teammates, we've got the New Orleans, the IBJJF New Orleans Open. And I told my teammates, I'll come watch y'all. Well, if I'm going to get off the plane from Rome, and then I'm going to come home, take a nap, get some rest, and I'm going to go straight over to New Orleans and compete in that one. So I got two big tournaments back to back. I was like I said, let's just get it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so then after that one, I'm like I said, if I can get those, get on the podium for those and get that gold medal, it'll put me in that number one spot. And then I think I'll be able to sit back for a couple of weeks, not stop training, but no competing for probably the next couple of months. And then I want to get some stuff. But I'm coaching a girl or two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going over to Coconut Beach or maybe going over to White Sands and getting some touches in just so I can get some stuff. Me and Chris Ships, Cali Bear and everything. We've been talking about playing a few tournaments. So that'll be, and it'll be a good change of pace. But, I think it'll keep me there because I'll probably be there anyway. So
I want him on the podcast back.
Yeah.
He's neck deep right now in epidemiology and virology or whatever.
Oh my God.
He's neck deep in that.
Really?
Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm getting a text, guys. I think I'd started I was cooking some stuff in the oven.
I've got a kid to go pick up too. So
but
I knew we'd
awesome.
go on too long.
Cowards.
Yeah.
Cowards.
2 hours.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's us.
We did.
It's us. It's like the
Holy
only thing that's
shit.
different now.
Wait,
is
it's 2 hours. You're right.
We just don't have. Yeah, we don't have any steak.
It is
No
not a
steak
big
and
deal.
I just
pork.
marinated myself.
This day was perfect actually to get all this taken care of because tomorrow starts I got a thing that I've got to take care of out of town. So
Okay, well I owe
couldn't
you.
have been better timing.
I owe you a list of restaurants for Rome, and I wish you the
Yes.
best of luck. Not that you
Thank
need
you.
it. I don't like luck.
Yes.
But you're
No,
gonna go and
this is
kill
what I
it.
Luck is for losers.
Yeah,
This-
amen.
That's right. This is what I tell the girl. I don't tell anybody good luck anymore. I say
I
go do your
hate that.
best.
I know. Yeah.
I tell my kids, I'm like, go do your best. Let's get out there and get some work. And then, like I tell, I had a talk with Meredith, so she's on my mind. She sent me this little bracelet as a good luck charm. So thank you, Meredith and Paula. I love
Oh
those
my
two.
gosh.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
They are
She
fantastic.
said she is just amazing. Yeah, she
Yeah.
is amazing. Those two are amazing women.
Yep.
And so she's worked hard. She's gonna actually be y'all's way. She's gonna go play
I
for
told
San
her
Jose.
San Jose straight down the road from
Yes.
Luke. I'm gonna be able to catch a beach
Yes.
match of hers and an indoor match
So,
of
and
Luke.
Jay, I don't know if you know that. Well, you know the story that I met her at Beach Week, and she was not even on anybody's radar. And she just said, "This is she did what I want kids to do. I want to do this. Okay,
Yep.
well, this is what you got to do."
Wow.
And then when
dude.
Jason coached, he helped. We were coaching them at Atlantic City. Look, Jason, he dissected the other team with the quickness, and they ended up beating like the number one seeded team in their bracket.
Yeah.
Like these two little girls from Miami, and I was like, and that was not the one they thought they were supposed to win.
Yep.
And that right there, I saw her demeanor change after that win, Jason.
Yep.
And it
And
was
I was
real.
like, and now look at her. So she's gone everywhere. She came back home and she came back down here. I worked with her on some stuff, the stuff that she's got. Like, look, this is what you have to do. Split blocking or defense is what you have to,
Yep.
And so, but that game right there, Jason, was a pivotal point to watch her. And once she did that in the tournament she started to play in and she got better and better, then coaches, I mean, of course, I made some, I did my part just like anybody
And
else.
I did
Making
mine
a phone
too with
call here.
LMU with John Mayer.
That's right. Exactly. With John Mayer and them. So, I mean, but
She's
then
at
I was
Davis.
like, but
She's
at the
at
end of the-
Davis, right?
No, she's going to San Jose
Yeah.
State.
No, she's going to San Jose.
Oh,
So what
okay.
I told her, I was like, at the end of the day, it's all up to you. And so, but man, I love it whenever she sends me little, like her and her mom will send me letters or little notes and
Yeah.
just tell them, like this is a little leather band. I love it. And it talks, and it has the dates of Rome. Like they're like, good luck in Rome.
They really
So,
are. They're just amazing people. They're
Show that band
fantastic.
again.
and so, so it's like a little cool little, it's awesome. And it's got a
Yeah.
little thing on it. And it's got a little quote on it. And so basically, I mean, it's, and I love it whenever that's what keeps me going with
Yeah.
some of the times with coaching and the volleyballs. I get these parents and so I usually get a girl or two each year. And that's what I told Wendy we've been doing since like 2017. And I've worked with them to go to prep them for college. And I've always used Joey or Drew to kind of transition them off to, which that's the best two around here that anybody can go work with.
Savages.
And what's awesome is all I do is give them the front work. Let's get the journal. Let's put things down. Let's write it. Let's get our goals. Let's do this. This is what we got to eat. This is what we have to train. This is how we got to get a personal trainer. And out of the two each year, everybody signed.
Nice.
So that's,
It's a good
I'm
track
having a
record.
great,
That's good
I
stuff.
love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that keeps me going.
Cool, man. You know what keeps me going? Feeding the needy, man. We gotta go.
Yes.
I've been marinating steak the
Yes.
last 3 hours.
Yeah.
I did it just before I started this podcast.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good then.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
Well,
yeah,
it's a
so-
3-week experiment. I just want to see how my
Yeah.
body feels, appetite wise,
Uh-huh.
because I thought
Yeah.
I would neurologically miss like pasta, cheese,
No,
bread, and all that
no.
stuff. And I'm 7 days into it, and I don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You're really over the big hump. Like that's what my body. So that's what I'm gonna. I had sushi today, y'all guys. I eat that all
Yeah.
the time
Yeah.
because it's just a lighter meal, and I try to eat the smaller meals right now because I'm
Boom.
intermittent fasting still. So
Yeah.
10:30 to 8 now, and I'm about to jump to 12 to 8. So it's a little harder, but
Okay.
no rice, no carbs, no breads. And Jay, I'm about to do the same thing you're doing. It's all going to be hard, sustainable proteins. And then what I'm
Totally.
going to do is maybe throw in a little bit of carbs but the only vegetable type carbs. But really,
Isn't it amazing
I'm gonna
what
be
your
sticking-
body reproduces on its own?
Man, it's crazy.
Do you
And
know?
it's
Do you know?
crazy.
Did you know? I had a nutrition guy. Did you know we used to be able to reproduce our own vitamin C? We
No,
we,
I
Really?
did
we,
not know
we as
that.
human beings a few hundred years ago have evolved, and we no longer produce our own vitamin C. But I think when we started necessitating our vitamin C, as generations and kids have kids, until it was
Yeah.
gone, and that's what I think actually.
That's wild. That's
Yeah.
evolution. That's
Yeah.
evolution.
So
And that's
we used to produce our own vitamin C.
I gotta
Fucking
listen.
crazy.
I gotta listen to that.
You
guy.
have to listen
Yeah,
to
I'll
this
definitely-
guy.
I'll definitely
You
check
have to
into
listen
that,
to
but
this
like I said,
podcast, dude.
Yeah.
His name
And
is
that's
Dr.
why I get
K,
so
Dr.
much-
Bart K.
Okay.
Bart K. That's
Yeah,
why
Bart-
I get into so much of the digestive stuff. And I gotta tell
Yes.
people right now, like what's the first thing? I was like, guys, your digestive enzymes, probiotics, all this stuff. I said, because garbage in is garbage out.
Yep.
And I said, if your body's not digesting even good foods, if it's
Yeah.
not digesting properly, you're not getting what you need out of it, and it's not expelling what it needs to do. So right then and there, and like you said, there's so much nerves
the
in that whole.
Yeah. Your
So
nervous
that's the
system,
largest.
that's- Exactly.
Stress.
Yeah.
So it is, man. Stress, guys.
Yeah.
We definitely. That's another subject all in
So-
Yeah.
itself. But
I know.
Yeah, make sure
You know.
we got some off the record dialogue gonna do about Beach Week in Louisiana, because
we do.
the sooner I know the better. Because right now,
Yeah.
I'm back in the club scene. I don't know if I told you. Jason Olive approached me about coaching LA Volleyball Club, and
Yeah.
Dane Blanton's doing the LA Beach portion, and I
Uh-huh.
actually said nah, I don't. I know to both, but then they both came to me together. To
Yeah.
coach both, so now I'm doing both. I'm doing
Well,
LA
that is
Volleyball
awesome.
Club for Jo and LA Beach for Dane.
Yeah.
And
Shoot.
they got me. I got honey dick, dude. I got honey dick, dude. I got hoodwinked.
Hey, that's all right. Look,
Yeah.
it doesn't get much sweeter than that. So
You
I'll
know,
tell what.
basically, we're just trying to get more black people to play volleyball. You know, I drive.
Hey.
Instead of walking
Yeah.
down the hill, I now drive 40 minutes inland, almost an hour
Yeah.
inland, just to
Yeah.
promote or whatever, because they have some elite
Well, that's
athletes.
good.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Well, look, this is what I'm
And the
gonna
whole
do
coaching
is
staff
whenever-
is black. The whole coaching staff is,
Well, I
is
might
people of
get- I
color.
might get in
How
touch
about that?
with Dane
I-
about yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's what this with Chase coming in. That's what I'm talking about with that free clinic.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want to do. That's,
Oh, Frisch?
We wanted to do it during
Please.
Beach Week.
Yeah.
We wanted to do it during Beach Week, but I mean, like But what happened is like Phelan and some other girls, they were going to help out, but that's what we're trying to do. I'm trying to get these kids from the Ninth Ward and these other like low income areas and like, quote unquote African American like neighborhoods and stuff. Get them over there to come. And it doesn't matter. Just anybody of, like I said, less fortunate. We call it underserved, which is, volleyball terminology. But
well, it's a rich person
because
sport.
It's free. It is. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how much money the sport costs.
Yeah.
Who you talking to, man?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm an engineer with a structural firm with an engineering firm and multiple businesses, and I'm still trying to ask people, Nick, like, hey, y'all want to help me do this thing? People are like, what? I'm like, man, I got kids, so no, but it definitely.
You know what it is? Picture having like a money argument. It's like, I could buy you twice, you broke bitch, and it's like, well, I play volleyball, and that's like.
Oh, yeah, right. I know, and that's it. Something's got to change with that, but it will, but it's just going to take a little time, I think.
All right, well,
cool. Let's wrap up.
I know.
They texting you, right?
No, I just know I got to go get Kate in 15 minutes.
Oh, I'm getting text.
Yeah.
I'm getting text. Dinner's ready. It's 8:00.
Yeah.
And Stella texted me once or twice, and then Angelique.
You said Wendy said it would be an hour, and I was like, dude, my podcasts are an hour, but every time I get together and Jay and I talk, we go for 2. So I should have known better.
We ran out of recording space.
What's meant to be will be.
Yes.
Yo, our file ran out the last time. This thing records 2 hours and 26 minutes, so we had to make a decision to stick another file in or wrap up.
That's right.
And we went.
Look, we only got about 12 minutes. So we'll wrap it up.
All right, Wendy, take us home.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I know that you were. This conversation's meant to be, and it could go on forever. So, Shawn, thanks for doing what I meant to say, and Jay, the option. I don't know. We're co-owning this deal.
Yeah,
so.
man.
Yes.
I don't even know if this is worthy of the option. I mean, this is some Wendy. This is some high level Wendy Jones shit, dude. So I don't know.
Yes,
all right, people.
All right. Well.
All right.
We're out. Thanks for joining us for the What I Meant to Say podcast. For more real conversations like this one, come on over to the Be Better community at www.bebetterwithwendyjones.com. A place for athletes and parents to grow and find meaning behind what we do every day so that we can be strong on our own and better together.